Hello! Sorry for the delay. Welcome back to Ian and Kyle Mangle, the English language. Featuring me, Ian, and of course with me, as always, is Kyle.
I am here.
He's here.
I am here. You can tell because of my food.
I hope Kyle will do a little, will assist me tonight because I'm a little more tired than I usually am, and I say that a lot. I'm not like shipping Minecraft tired, but I'm still pretty tired.
Minecraft? My word, Ian. Whatever do you mean?
Why, that's the game I've been working on for the last year and change.
That's pretty cool.
And
year and change. It's a good chunk of time.
Yeah. I'm saying that a little early because, oh hey, everybody's here. Perma-tired.
Yay!
Minecraft.
Everybody.
The folks who are in our stream, of course, Chris already knew, and Kyle already knew. I had these guys under NDA, so I could talk to them about it in the past. And Casey probably knew from Chris's stream yesterday, which is when I made the official on our stream announcement. I'm going to boot up my...
But Ian, Minecraft's already released. How could you possibly work on Minecraft?
Oh, did I not say the platform? It's for the 3DS. I'm getting
3DS.
3DS here.
Man, I sure hope you can demo for us.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's going to work. Can you see that?
Probably won't look through. Yeah, it's actually not bad. Can you turn down your brightness a bit?
A little blown out. Yeah, maybe. Probably not like with a Switch, but with like a system setting. This is a new 3DS for me. It's in fact a new 2DS. So I'm still getting used to how it works. But I will show that off in a moment.
Thank you.
Any moment now, Kyle will entertain the stream. It's gotta be in there. Screen, but some mic test.
Alien is open in the street.
I don't know. I don't know how to adjust the brightness on the new 3DS.
Well, moving on from the brightness.
Anyway, it's Minecraft. It's on the new 3DS. I made it with a bunch of other talented people at Other Ocean.
Indeed so. Now, Chris is asking if you're going to be patching it at any point. If there are patches planned.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We are planning lots and lots and lots of patches. In fact, I'm working on patches right now.
Nice.
I don't know a lot of the details. The first patch is going to be soon, trademark, and it's going to include stereoscopic 3D and some bug fixes.
Nice.
And then we're slowly going to be adding features for the. We are a version of the Pocket Edition. We'll be slowly adding features until we're 1.0 of the Pocket Edition or equivalent. There we are, Minecraft on 3DS. I made that. Cool.
That's pretty cool.
So glad to finally be able to share it with everybody.
I do have a question. You said stereoscopic. Does it not support any 3D at the moment, or are there different types of 3D on the 3DS?
Well, stereoscopic 3D is the
Glasses?
It's the glasses free 3D. Well, stereoscopic 3D means when you talk about a video game, and you say a video game is 3D, you mean it uses 3D rendering techniques, which are not new or interesting and have been the norm for about 25 years now, and existed a little bit in other forms prior to that. So when you want an effect like virtual reality, or as on the 3DS, what they call glasses free 3D, what that's actually called is stereoscopic 3D, which means it projects a different image into each eye, so you get sort of a depth effect.
Pretty effective.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah. This actually, what I just showed off is a new 2DS, so it does not have the parallax filter on it. It can only show images in 2D.
Interesting. I didn't actually realize they were selling.
Well, they made
DSs that were 2D still.
So when the 3DS came out and was monumentally successful, about 4 or 5 years later, they released a cheap version focused on kids. And the cheap version actually wasn't even a clamshell design. It was a single piece, like a big tablet with two screens, and it had no 3D effect. And more recently, they released a more broader market version of that called the new 2DS, which does not have the 3D and is still cheaper than the 3DS, but has more production quality. Although I have to admit, playing around with this guy, it doesn't have really good production quality. Still kind of cheapy. But there's actually two versions of the 3DS hardware, and that's an important distinction because our game only runs on the new 3DS or new 2DS.
Interesting. Can you do a firmware update on the older ones, or is it actual hardware?
No, it's hardware revision. It's completely different. We could not get it to run on the original. We tried. We tried our darndest. We cut it very late, but it was just not happening. But it runs great on the new 3DS. It runs at 60 a lot. Not all the time, but you know. And in stereo 3D, coming soon, it runs 30 a lot and 20 sometimes.
Sure.
That's pretty significant.
That's great.
So yay, that's the biggest title I have my name on, for sure.
Right, sure.
I mean, I can actually, you know, one of the things you get as a game developer a lot is when you tell people you're a game developer, the immediate follow-up question is,
what have you worked on?
What have you worked on that I know? And usually the answer is, well, probably nothing.
Right.
I've worked on a lot of things, but you don't know them. And I've been lucky enough to work on some things that maybe some people would know, but I think Minecraft is the one that I can sort of expect everybody to at least have heard of.
Right, totally.
So,
yeah.
Exciting developments from the lands of Ian.
Yeah, that's huge. I, on the other hand, don't have developments.
No. Well, Kyle's still working at Kixeye, and they had a release this week.
That's true. We released stuff. We had our monthly event. It was going very well. Fans seem to be enjoying it. I will like to share one minor anecdote about that, which is we did kind of an experiment. Our monthly events typically are a sequence of targets that you have to attack, a series of bases. And we alternate between bases you need to attack and things attacking your own base that you've built up over time. But we actually integrated a hidden mission for the first time ever in the... it's fine, dude. A hidden mission in...
She laughs at your hidden mission.
She laughs at the hidden mission.
No.
And the...
Laughing at a YouTube video.
Well, you're allowed. And in the final mission of the event, there is some character dialogue where they say something to the effect of, I haven't been able to find the main bad guy's headquarters. We haven't found their headquarters. It's hidden somewhere. If only we could figure out where. And they discover in that base something we called, pseudoscience usually we like to be a data fragment, where there's like a piece of information that is a piece of the location of the base. So it's basically you put the pieces together to form a map. But we don't say where the other pieces are. And they are located, strewn about the other bases. There's 4 other pieces spread across 20 bases that you have to find. And there's a clue to it, whereby a certain building is color-coded differently, and it kind of is like off, and it has a different symbol on it, but it kind of looks like part of the background. So if you pick up on these, you can put the puzzle together and discover the location of the secret headquarters, which does something also really great and crazy, which is the boss is in the base, but when you attack this boss, and this base is incredibly difficult, it spawns in, so there's 3 player factions that you can choose from, and you're always fighting a wide variety of different enemy factions and affiliations that will come in. But when you attack this character, who has been really annoying the 3 main factions, the player factions, the leaders of the main factions, who have appeared as bosses in the game previously, all show up to help you out. So you're attacking this guy, and then over the course of it, these other boss units spawn in to fight with you, and you can even control them, and it's like this really, really epic finale. And there's a really great... one of the reasons that we make games, when you shared with me a video of somebody playing Minecraft after it was announced.
That was you're talking about the reaction video,
right? The reaction.
That was just a guy listening to the announcement. That guy was nuts.
Well, but this is why, really, at the end of the day, we don't just make games to send them out in the ether. We make them because we like, I think, generally bringing joy to people, and we like the day-to-day challenges. We like solving problems and critical thinking that is involved in solving whether engineering or design tasks. But at the end of the day, we're trying to ship these things to people. So we were watching people do a playthrough of the event and encounter this secret base, and they all work together. There's 8 people on a stream together trying to figure out oh, how do we solve this? Oh, we think it's this thing. No, it's not this thing. Oh, it's this other thing. It is this other thing. Oh my god, we gotta find more. How many are there? Do we go these bases? And they get to the end base. They uncover the secret. They're like, this base looks impossible. How are we gonna do this? Holy crap, the leader of this other faction showed up. Oh my gosh, the other one showed up. Oh my god, this means the third one's gonna show up too. And the third one's very important because players haven't even seen the unit type that this boss uses. It's brand new in the game. So it comes in with this giant boss, that same thing. And it was just like, they were freaking out and laughing like lunatics for like 5 minutes. It was amazing. And that is why we make games. So it's really, really fun to get that gratification, to see players having that experience of joy and the sense of discovery. And so a super rewarding moment for me this week. Maybe not quite the same feeling as shipping something we've worked on for a year, but those player reactions is really why we do it. That was a good feeling.
Well, I don't really... I mean, the 3DS is a portable system, people aren't streaming any of that, so I don't get to experience except for that one guy who posted a reaction video to the announcement.
Is that true? I think are there people that stream 3DS games at all?
It's very infrequent because there's not consumer-facing hardware designed for it.
It's definitely restricted.
So the answer is yes, but
right.
Like the game Grumps, do it, for example.
Gumpy Gums.
And we did it on Friday, or what? No, today's Friday. We did it on Thursday. After the announcement, we streamed for about 2 hours. Or no, we did it on Wednesday. What day is it? Wow,
I don't know what's happening.
This is Ian being tired here. So we did it on Wednesday after the announcement. We streamed for about 2 hours, and we streamed from our 3DS. But we have, developer hardware that lets us do that.
Right. You got some good viewership for that?
Well, we were hosted, so we broadcast it to our stream, our other Ocean stream, or our Twitch channel, rather.
Yeah.
And it was hosted by Microsoft, Nintendo, and Mojang, or Mojang, depending on who you talk to.
Right.
So I bet they got tons and tons and tons of viewership.
Right.
We got about 500 people, which was, I think, pretty much an ideal number, and the reason I say that is because it's enough people that there's interest and there's conversation going on, but not so much that it's constant spam of meaningless nothing. There were a lot of penises and stuff, but
there's still penises.
That's how streaming goes.
You're gonna get.
So we did get to interact directly with a couple of the fans, which is fun.
Oh, that is fun.
Chris was there. Chris watched some of it. I appreciated that, Chris. Kyle wasn't there.
I was not there. But I feel a little poorly about it. I wish I could have been there. I have not watched the stream you're referring to, Chris, but I'm sure that's on YouTube. I'd be curious to see it. I'm kind of interested in Destiny 2, but I'm not.
I thought Destiny, full disclosure, my history with Destiny was playing with Kyle. Kyle said we should play this game together, and I said, okay, let's play this game. And we only played about an hour or two. I did not enjoy it pretty much at all.
Yeah.
It felt like a very uninteresting, very generic shooter. And part of the problem was I didn't really play around with it on my own, so I probably didn't understand a lot of what was going on, but I was not really enjoying what was going on. So I have no interest in Destiny 2 because it looks like another... I mean, the people are crazy excited about it, but it looks like another generic shooter.
Well, it's so funny. There's elements I like in the Destiny games, but I've always been... Oh, yeah, totally.
Well, it's okay. We can bitch about Destiny anyway.
It's true. No, I'm sure they're in it for the same reason, so they had a lot of fun, and I would actually probably enjoy watching the video Chris is talking about, but... It is funny. While I enjoyed some time with Destiny more than you did, I think, but there is a part of me that felt like there was a game that lived on some kind of promise that it never felt like it fully delivered on, and part of the promise, which I felt wasn't fully delivered on, was that it was still Halo. It still felt way too much like Halo to me, and for some players, that's awesome, and I've never really liked Halo, so that's a weakness for me. And so, I played it, I think, because I was really looking to scratch the first-person shooter itch a little bit, and it was okay in that regard, as I feel the Halo games have been okay in that regard. And one of the greatest bafflements in my entire life as a designer, one of the true like dumbfounding bafflements of my career is why Halo has remained as popular. Like, there's an okay story which is told generally slowly.
Well,
the levels are
I can answer it partially. Maybe
some of it was the
not too
multiplayer.
exactly.
Some of it was at the
certainly there's
original
that, but it was the first modern first-person shooter to reach mainstream audiences on console. And I think it, and then you go from there to the multiplayer, and the multiplayer is, what things live or die on.
Yeah.
And
I think the online multiplayer was huge because I think they launched it with Xbox Live. I think that's why it started so well. But I don't get why it sustained that well.
Carried it this whole time. Well, then you're invested, right? So if you like the game, you're going to buy more of the game.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's true.
But while we're on the topic of video games, I did have two more things I wanted to cover.
Yeah.
Because I'm playing games again. How about that?
Oh, you don't play games.
Just barely,
Okay.
I must confess. So this week, 2 games came out. And the first is Hive Swap, which is the Homestuck adventure game. And I have to confess, I've only put about 30 minutes into it so far.
How was that 30 minutes?
I like the game. It's the most gorgeous adventure game I've ever played. It's really, I think, the first example of a true, 1080p high-res graphic adventure game.
It's actually good enough to out yourself as a graphics whore.
Well, that's not where I'm going with it.
Oh, okay.
So,
sure.
In spite of that, no. And it
I couldn't
it
help
does.
myself.
Yeah, no, totally. I get it. That's what we're here for. Give each other crap. Yeah, well, I'll talk about that in a second, Chris. It's feels very much like the comic, which is something I view as a positive.
Mm-hmm.
Some people wouldn't. Some people really hate the comic or whatever.
I can't imagine you would pick this up
they
though,
say
if you weren't
that-
a fan.
No. Well, maybe. The pitch is it can appeal to people who aren't fans of the comic. Or I guess, more accurately, I should say, it can appeal to people who don't know the comic.
Oh,
I think you have to like the style of the comic to like the game. I'll say it that way.
But you don't
and
necessarily
I will also
need the
say,
knowledge of the comic.
I can't make a judgment call on that yet, of course, because I know the comic very well. It's very tied to the comic. I don't think you need to know things in the comic, but if you know things in the comic, it's
You get
basically
more.
a sequel to the comic.
That's interesting. That's
Like
great
a
for you,
legitimate
yeah.
follow-up to the comic.
Yeah.
Or at least that's how things appear so far.
Right.
Andrew Hesse and Homestuck have a way of challenging your expectations. So it could be interesting. I do have some complaints. So far, again, 30 minutes in, so I'm reserving judgment.
We'll call these early impressions.
Yeah, I'll do my early impressions, yeah. I'm worried it's going to be too easy, and for that reason, it hasn't really grabbed me. Like, the gameplay is not quite there.
Right.
And load times are terrible, and walking around is a little clunky. But those are the only bad things I can say. So I'm going to put more time into it,
Right.
and I'll probably have more impressions next week.
No.
Game number 2
Game number 2.
is Samus Returns. 3DS game, Metroid 2. They say it's a remake. I'm going to say, it's a game that was inspired by the fact that a game called Metroid 2 existed once.
Okay.
I mean, it's a whole new game
Okay.
with similar elements in it, but yeah, it's not a remake.
Well, that said, is it a good not remake or a bad not
It's
remake?
by
in your
Mercury
view?
Steam, who is the developer who I think ruined Castlevania.
Did they ruin Metroid?
I'm again going to reserve judgment because I got it
Impressions.
today,
Okay.
and I've also played about 30 minutes. I didn't love those 30 minutes. It had the same problem that their version of Castlevania on the 3DS had, which is it adds a bunch of complex systems to try to create depth of gameplay, but it just really slows things down a lot.
Right.
And not necessarily yet are any of those systems particularly fun or engaging.
Right.
So it's like Metroid if it was slower, which is not something
not
I would
what
say.
you want, yeah.
So that's what Ian's been up to. So yeah, there's new Homestuck. Oh, sorry, Chris. I misinterpreted what Chris said. I just glanced at it.
Yeah.
Chris said there's new Homestuck albums on Bandcamp, which means they release. Homestuck is a I guess I have to explain, especially to our viewers on YouTube. Homestuck is a very difficult thing to describe. The easiest way I can describe it is it's a mixed media webcomic. It is a webcomic. It's the longest webcomic by page count. It's over now. Still the longest by a lot, though, by page count. And it's a mix of sequential art webcomics and other things like animations, music, video games. Yeah, well, like Flash games. Yeah. I mean, it's really complicated. So it's the type of thing where you can say, I really like the soundtrack to Homestuck, the webcomic. And this is something I've said. And actually, Chris was a really thoughtful friend because I also like physical media. So one Christmas, I think it was, or for my birthday or something, for some reason, he burned a lot of the Homestuck soundtrack to CDs for me. And it's one of the best gifts I've received to date. So I really appreciate it, Chris. Thank you. It was awesome.
It's all a legendary gift.
So it was Christmas, he says. So his comment is that there's now more music on Bandcamp to that effect, music from Homestuck. But what I thought he was commenting on, which doesn't make any sense because it's a completely different game now that I think about it, is there was an announcement today of an Undertale LP. No. And of course I think of Undertale when I think of Homestuck because they're similar tonally, and Toby Fox, the creator of Undertale, was a contributor to the music of Homestuck.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
So there's an LP, and I think I need to confess here now on our stream that I have a problem. I have started collecting LPs, and that's really, really bad because they're not cheap, and I can't play them. They just take up space and look pretty, and I love them, and I want more.
Yep.
So that's a thing, a problem I have.
Yeah, I mean there are, I would say, worse addictions.
Well, I mean, I ain't
or
exactly
hobbies. We'll call it a hobby.
I ain't exactly rolling in money or space. So.
Well, sure. You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah. So that's a nasty habit I picked up.
Yeah.
I say that because I did purchase, of course, the Undertale LP today, and another one.
Another one. Yeah.
What else did I buy? I bought another one today.
So the problem, you start to know you have a problem when you buy so many things you're not sure what you bought within a 24-hour period.
I bought 2 earlier in the week, and they were...
Wait a minute.
So there were 2
Hold on. There were 2 purchased today.
Yes.
And there were an additional 2 purchased earlier this same week.
Well, as you know, I have...
Just trying to get my timetable
Castlevania's 1 through 3 on LP. I also got a Contra one. And earlier in the week, I bought Castlevania 4, which of course I have to buy because I have one.
You do have to buy Castlevania.
I also bought Mother 2, Earthbound LP, of course. This is a good one to own.
Sure.
And today, I bought 2, and I'm honestly struggling to come up with the second one.
Yeah.
But one of them was Undertale.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what it is. You'll appreciate this, and you'll appreciate it. It was Steven Universe. I bought the Steven Universe LPs today.
That's good. That's funny. I'm glad we got to it.
We are big Steven Universe fans here in Kyle's apartment.
That's true. That's when you come to this apartment, you like Steven Universe. It's just sort of how it works out. It's funny. I only have, I think I have 2 records. Two records. I have one that was a collector's record that came with an actual CD I purchased many moons ago, and the other is the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 LP.
Yeah, Let's Plays. I was actually really confused. Thomas was here last week, and he had made a comment on a YouTube video from a few weeks ago that I didn't notice at the time. Unfortunately, I have to figure that out. It's making me a bad YouTuber.
Yeah.
Because the, hey, someone commented on your video notification get mixed in with the, hey, any YouTuber you've ever looked at uploaded a new video, which I don't care about and automatically ignore. Yeah. So it's hard to notice when we actually get comments. But anyway, he used LP, and I assumed he meant vinyl, and I was super confused by what he was talking about. But he did in fact mean Let's Play.
Right. That is interesting. The kids these days don't know about records, albums, vinyls.
They were over. I had about 10 years of overlap where they were a thing,
like cassettes,
like
and
not
records.
a collector's item, but like people actually listened.
Purchased
to
records. Yeah. No, that's fair. The yeah, so I just have those two, but I think the real key.
We'll be chatting long tonight. I have more to talk about.
That's true. I've got one more sort of LP thought here, which is I think the key is. I mean, I know that you have sort of the space concern, but
well, I have a lot of space. I just need to figure out how to utilize it correctly.
Well, the trick is to properly be a collector of anything. You need to make sure that they take up as much space as possible so that everyone can see them. So, for example, you have some sort of record rack that sits there, but they're tilted to some direction so you can see all the coverage. Because especially with a vinyl, you want the art is often a big deal. Like they look great.
Especially since I can't play them. That's the point.
Well, yeah. So you have to make sure that however much space they take up, it's probably the most amount they could take up. That's the correct.
I've been looking at storage solutions like that.
Yeah.
Recognizing finally today that I do have a problem.
Yeah. No. Well, that's not true. You at least recognized it. You acknowledged it last week.
Did I?
You did. Maybe not on the stream. I don't believe on the stream. Maybe it was over the weekend, so maybe it was post last stream.
But I was talking about LPs last week?
You were talking, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, maybe.
Weird. I don't even remember that.
I wouldn't say you've been doing it endlessly or many weeks in a row, but you definitely brought it up.
Oh, I bet I mentioned because I put them. I tried to display them and I didn't like the way it turned out. That's probably
that could be true. And again, part of the sign you have a problem is not realizing you have a problem. So you now admitting you have a problem with the LPs, but it makes the history of your LP conversations and reveals so much more enlightening. You know, we can look back and say, man, Ian's been talking about buying vinyl for ages now.
Yeah, totally. So let's see if we can get through board games really quick.
Yeah, board games.
And then get to some versus system.
Which we'll play incorrectly.
We played some more Ashes last week. It went just fine. I have to confess...
I got a little trounced, though. I didn't like that so much.
Oh, well, I'm used to it.
As much. Yeah, that's fair. I destroyed you one day. One day I swept the games, and then every other game we have played...
When we introduced our decks, you won every game.
And then every other game played, I have won.
But what I was about to say is I have to confess that I'm reaching a point where I don't dislike the game, certainly.
Yeah.
We were observing last week that I feel like we both like versus system quite a bit.
Yep.
I feel like I get to make more interesting choices during the gameplay of versus system, which is not to say that that's not the case in Ashes. It's actually quite good at that, better than a lot of other card games I have played.
Hence why we're still playing.
Yeah. But I'm starting to feel a little ambivalent towards it. Like my excitement has worn off, and I don't dislike the game, but I don't feel like I'm looking forward to it much anymore.
I do have to wonder how much of that is the deck diversity that we have in Versus. So, for example,
I'm sure that contributes a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if we had, and it's actually a fascinating intellectual exercise where we could say, well, what if we each only had 3 or 4 Versus system decks? How long? Like, would we feel that there weren't enough interesting decisions in Versus system? I don't actually have an answer to that, but it's sometimes hard to separate the diversity that comes from the inherent nature of a collectible card game and the diversity in deck experience from the diversity of mechanical choices. And arguably, what separates an interesting choice from an uninteresting one, because we both acknowledged the number of decisions and the number of permutations of options that are on the board at any given moment in Ashes is actually very high.
It is.
So maybe there's a question about what separates a good, I guess I would say, an interesting decision from an uninteresting decision. And one of the things that I often analyze at work that we talk about in terms of providing players choices in a given experience is that depending on the context of those choices, you can actually have too many options. And that can actually, what starts to happen is it starts to reduce the clarity of those decisions and then ultimately reduces the meaning of those decisions. It's sort of like if you imagine a board game of chess where suddenly everybody has 50 pieces that all have a unique function instead of the number of pieces that are in chess, not all of which have unique functions. You know, you have only a very small number of discrete rule sets for the pieces. So that's actually an argument, like maybe in some regards the number of choice permutations that you have in a game like Versus are actually fewer, but because they're fewer, those choices have more meaning. And more or less choices actually doesn't mean more or less strategic necessarily. It's sort of a common misconception in game design in general is people think that by adding complexity, They dragged out.
Mercury's team.
Right. Yeah. Indeed. Indeed.
To answer Casey's question, yeah, we do have the expansions. We have not cracked them yet. Our plan is to split them between us so that we start to have our own sort of identities among the cards we own, which is ultimately our goal. That works really well for us in Versus system.
So, and I actually brought up when we last played Ashes, I actually said I wonder how close we're getting at that point.
It might be soon. It might be a couple of week or two,
Because we definitely, like, we're not going to, we would not reach a point where we're just, so disheartened with the game that we don't crack open those expansions. That's not going to happen. Like, the next step is we go to the expansions to try and test that hypothesis, ultimately, about sort of deck diversity and deck choice.
And the other board game topic I wanted to touch on, if we're done with the...
Yeah.
You don't advise what?
Do you not advise the...
Keeping our own identities?
Or the two upcoming expansions? I'm actually curious as to what Fat expansion would be. Is that then multiple characters?
There's new dice types and new larger than decks expansions coming.
Interesting. Maybe we split those as well.
Yeah. I would like to do that. That might be what Casey's advising against, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
We'll find out in a moment.
Yes. Let's talk about our other thing, and then we can get back to the
So I purchased a new board game this week. I feel a little sad about it, honestly. It's something I've been looking forward to for a very long time. Actually, it's only been out about a year and a half. But it's Mansions of Madness.
Is that related? Sorry.
Mansions of Madness is an Arkham horror game in the style of a campaign sort of RPG game, sort of like Descent or RPG Light. Not there; those aren't really
not
RPGs,
quite that.
But Descent or Imperial Assault, which is a style of game I really like and really enjoyed playing with Chris, even though he thinks I hate it because I complained about it a lot. And would like to play more of. And I've also read that Mansions of Madness is unique in that I think, I haven't confirmed this, but I believe you can have it run by an app. So one of the downsides of those styles of games is it needs a GM, or historically did. However, I don't think I'll be able to find, despite being really excited and wanting to play it, I don't think I'll be able to find people who can commit to the time investment and the reliability, frankly, to actually get to enjoy that game. But I own it, and we'll see. Maybe. Yeah.
One of the big limiters in any of those games is the time investment of a session can be very intimidating. But if you can get a session down, a complete session of like 2 hours, then maybe we can find a way to work it into our schedule.
Casey, we don't play for meta. Meta's boring.
Yeah,
it is to me.
Meta, yeah. I have almost zero interest in meta stuff.
And again, like I love Descent. I played one session, unfortunately, of Imperial Assault. I enjoyed that, but not as much as Descent. So I like that style of game.
Right.
So I would like to play it, but I need to find people who can dedicate 3 hours. Even if it's 3 hours a month to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. To be clear, we're talking about. When we talk about a meta, there's two different layers of meta, and I admit I initially misinterpreted the intention of meta. When meta was first stated, I thought that the claim was talking about the larger meta of the game, not a meta just between Ian and myself, and that was me misreading the comment. But an evolving meta between two players, the reason that, and maybe Ian's reasons are different.
Let me interject because, again, I'm the card game noob, so I have an understanding of this term, and it might not be correct.
Sure.
So maybe you should correct my impression. So when you say meta, and the reason I reacted the way I did, to me, my understanding of meta is how I adjust my decks to beat Kyle's decks, and then how Kyle adjusts his decks to re-beat my decks. And I don't like that gameplay experience at all.
Right, and admittedly, and this will actually be interesting to see their version of it, because that's more or less in line with my view of it. And the reason that I don't necessarily like that is... and I'm exactly the same way. Like, if that interpretation of meta is the accurate one, at the very least, we interpret it the same way.
Okay.
And I dislike it because there's some very significant reasons why I dislike that sort of experience. It's because I quite dislike me adjusting like me adjusting a deck to beat your deck is a very strong indication that the percentage of the game weighted in the playing of the game is lower. Like the value of playing the game is reduced because of the proportionate amount of skill.
I didn't know it was an acronym.
Most effective tactics value. That actually did blow my mind. That's 3 points, 3 bonus points to Casey for pointing out that was an acronym.
But I object to that as well, because if there's a most effective tactics available, what's the point of playing anything else?
Well, the argument and the idea of a rotating meta is what you are describing. It's you would make a deck, and then I would make a deck with some intention of countering your deck, and so it wouldn't be static. It wouldn't be a static meta, because we don't just pick both of us the best deck. Because it's a game of counters, you would make a deck, or one of us would make a deck. Well, we both make decks, and then be hitting each other. But then we would adapt each other's decks to fight each other's decks, and then we'd have to do it again and again. And there are pros and cons to it. I do actually understand why people like that. The idea is the element of unpredictability that comes from what you're up against, that fresh feeling, is maintained. But in some instances, I guess depending on the lens or what you want to get out of a gaming experience, for me there's sort of a distinction between broader deck construction strategy and the tactics of playing the deck. And I much prefer, and this is true in most games, I'm personally much more of a tactical player. I like the active execution over and above the active construction. I actually really enjoy deck construction as well. But I don't want to build a deck to solve the problem of your deck. I want to build the deck or decks, plural, potentially. But I want to build decks that adhere to the play styles I like, and then I can diversify within those play styles and have to think outside the box to try and counter your strategies. It's actually one of the things I really enjoy in Versus System is, and I think you're the same way, is when you play, when I play a certain deck against a certain deck of yours, you suddenly can enter circumstantially this new thought process where it's like, the thing that my deck does, it doesn't do against the deck you're playing. So I need to do something different. And then you get those weird creative plays that work outside the box. Now, of course, playing with a meta does not preclude that. You still have those plays. It's not like those don't exist. But I don't like the percentage of the game experience, an active part of that, to exist outside of the tactical play. And one of the things that's so damned impressive to me about Versus System is the magnitude of the tactical play. I just find so utterly compelling, and we don't actually need a rotating meta, which does come back to the previous question, which is, do we actually secretly kind of have a rotating meta because we have so many decks?
That may be. Well, let me propose this. Since you guys are playing together, I believe you, Chris, and Casey, or you guys are each playing this game, at least yourselves. Why don't we run that experiment? Why don't Kyle and I split the decks, the expansions that we have proposed, and we'll let you know if it's a good experience or a bad experience, or what we expected it to be,
or what our experiences are. Period.
Yeah,
Totally. I think it's interesting, and I think Ian and I also both enjoy games in which we get to articulate a very strong player identity, where we get to really feel like we're unique in the space.
I definitely value that a lot.
It's very fun, and it also ensures asymmetry, because one of the things we actually did find, this was funny to an extent, in our most recent Ashes experience, and we like to select our decks generally randomly in terms of what the matchup is, and we had decks that had a non-trivial amount of overlap in them come up against each other. And while those games weren't bad and there's enough of a percentage difference in our decks that it wasn't like a mirror match, there is that little erosion of true unique identity when that occurs. And our opening plays, the deck's diversified from the opening plays, but our opening plays were almost identical in one of the matches, and it just felt like my mood decreases radically, like my enjoyment of the experience goes down a lot.
Yeah, we have decks that strangely are very differently architected decks, but probably have very similar opening plays.
Right. In some instances, it's very fascinating because it doesn't necessarily diminish the layers of strategy or any of those things. There's an actual, I think, an emotional reaction to not having that strong identity. And some games monetize almost exclusively on that premise. I mean, you look at stuff like, you know, popular MOBAs, League of Legends, and so forth, where they release all these character skins, and one of their primary sources, if not their primary source of monetization, is these purely aesthetic components, where you might play one character, I might play the same character, but by golly, we're probably going to have different tastes in aesthetics. So it's actually completely superficial.
My taste in aesthetics is I wouldn't dream of paying for aesthetics.
Sure, that's true. That's true. That's fair.
Anyway, we've been yammering for almost an hour.
Yeah, it's been a lot of
I do have two more things really quickly to cover, and I swear this will just wrap up.
Yeah.
There's literally going to be a sentence or two about them.
I'm ready.
Number one is, hey, look at this. I made a new, what do we call this, bag sort, based on the new distributions of my decks.
Oh, excellent.
So I'll be using that starting next week. This week we're still a little bit off script because I still have 2 heavily modified decks we're going to be checking out again this week, and 1 deck that we have promoted from the AA tier to the S tier, or at least we're trying it out in the S tier to see if it can function there. So that's final thought on that. Back to video games. I forgot a video game topic.
Oh my god.
Tonight.
We are chatty. It's good though.
But we won't go into it. I shared we were talking a few weeks ago, and I know all these things because I finally got caught up on our videos. We are current on YouTube again.
That's great.
We were talking a few weeks ago about Mighty Number 9 because I had just gotten the physical rewards.
Right.
And about why it wasn't successful. And I was able to express a little, but I also struggled to articulate in that stream why Mighty Number 9 was, I considered, not a successful game.
Right.
And I said there was this very informative YouTube video that's a good breakdown of why it didn't work. And I've shared it with Kyle. And I hope he watched it, or at least part of it.
I will be watching it next week. This week has been extremely busy.
Then
but
that's fine.
I've actually got it bookmarked.
I linked it on that video in the description. I will not link it this video. I will link it next video when it sounds like we'll finally have an opportunity to talk about it.
Yeah, that'll be great. I definitely want to watch it. It's just this week. Any week, because of our monthly cycles of work, I have a week every month where I just get nothing.
It's a long video. Well, it was actually 4 videos. It was a supercut of them, though. So it's an hour-long video.
It's a full hour, yeah, so it was a chunk of time. But I'll get to it next week.
So, pick a deck, sir.
All right, well, everything's random. I don't actually know what order I have my own decks in. So I can point at one of mine, at one of yours. How do you want to do this?
I love how... So we've been doing this for... This is our 42nd stream, I think, if I remember correctly. And I have been, as I described in our chat... Or not our chat, I'm sorry, our stream description, that usually what happens is Kyle picks some decks, I pick one of the deck, he tells me what tier the deck is, and then I pick a comparable deck. And originally I was rolling them, and then I was working from the bag sort for a while. So last week, literally last week and this week, for 2 streams, I have flipped the script on him.
No, it's terrifying.
And he's so confused what to do at this point.
I know.
What you need to do, sir, is you should pick one of my decks.
Here's what I'm going to do.
You can roll if you like, but you must arrive at a conclusion that is one of my decks, and I will tell you its tier. Well, and then next week we can just go back to your familiar little...
Well, hold on. There's 6 decks, and I have a 6-sided die. So we could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You're making this overly complex.
No. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this will pick a deck.
You don't get to pick your deck. I am making that choice right now.
Why can't? Is there a distinction in the randomness?
Yes. You must pick one of my decks. I only get it 2 weeks a year, Kyle.
All right. Okay. I will. Well, green means go, so we'll do that. We'll work. We'll do the stoplight. I'm choosing the stoplight approach
with the green deck, which is an A deck.
That is an A deck. Now I will look. That one is my deck. Day deck.
Is day deck. Also, quick worth noting, we have disabled one of our lights tonight, which was causing some glare last week. Are we shorter a light than we usually are still?
We are 1 burned out.
So we might be a little dark today. So we'll assess. You let us know on the stream if it looks terrible, and we'll assess, and we'll try to fix that.
We have, like, if I move this card around, like, the lighting in general, just looking at the lighting on the card, seems all right.
I have noticed that they look dark in our preview of the stream, and then it comes through on the video okay.
Yeah, okay, okay. Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's
I made a choice. I was making Kyle make a choice.
But that in itself was a choice. The question is not whether or not I like making
I'm going to roll, and I'm going to choose the inner die.
The question is whether or not I'm prepared for it.
I've lost. Although I think that was a little bit of interference.
Shenanigans.
I have lost.
So... What does this deck actually go? I'm going to go evens with this deck here.
That's not gonna work. Did you just throw your life dice on the floor?
Nope. I have them here. Everything is fine.
Did you just throw some dice on the floor?
Oh my god. This is unprecedented. This is not a thing that has precedent. I'm going to actually reveal my hand to the camera. This is so bonkers.
I'm not looking.
So I'm gonna reveal my cards one at a time. I'm gonna try and do it quickly. So here's the first card, and this will make sense in a moment. The picture will reveal the deck itself. And there's the next card, and then there's the next card, and then finally the last card. And I reveal these 4 cards, and what I will tell you is this: these are 4 amazing cards that I think I have to get rid of, and it's so stupid and ridiculous. I don't think I've ever had a hand like this, and I'll explain at the end why this is so stupid and annoying. But I'm gonna mulligan. Also,
well, let's do it.
I don't have 90 life.
Why not?
Well, I mean,
you may need it.
I may.
If I win by 40, you'll be sorry.
That's very true.
Only 40.
I did go evens.
Alrighty then. I'm going to be putting this here, and then I am not going to be recruiting anything.
So I'm going to put in my resource row Prime Sentinels. Prime Sentinels says whenever an opponent plays a plot twist from his resource row, that opponent loses 1 endurance for each non-stunned Sentinel character I control. Then I'm going to recruit Bolivar Trask.
Uh-oh.
Whenever Bolivar Trask comes into play, search your deck for an Army Sentinel character card. Reveal that card, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. And I am going to search for a Army Sentinel card. And that Army Sentinel card, which I'm searching for, that is in my deck, because I know it's in here. I know that this. I know there are. In fact, I know there are a bunch of them in this. What the hell? All right, I'm just going to see. Okay. Yep. They were all in the next 10 cards. That's really weird. It's the Sentinel Mark III, which is going in my hand. I'll read it to you next turn. It's nothing fancy.
Okay. I know who he is.
And then I'm going to attack you with Bolivar Trask.
No!
If you do nothing.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I really, really needed that. You are dead on with that, Chris. I need those cards back in my deck so that I might draw them one day. Man, that opening hand. I couldn't keep it. I'm gonna shuffle the Jesus out of these. Okay. I guess I have initiative, so I shouldn't shuffle forever. Okay, here you go. Give me a deck cut.
A little bit of a slow start here, though.
It's okay. It's alright. The Sentinels will capitalize on this, we hope.
They sure will. They sure will.
I'm gonna draw this card. I'm gonna draw this card. And then I'm gonna put this card here. That's novel. Yeah, I'm just going to recruit my Sentinel Mark III. Sentinel Mark III says, Army Sentinel characters you control get +1 attack while attacking. Currently, it's only him.
Correct. I will be recruiting the Guardians.
The Guardians.
The Guardians are concealed, and they have, whenever a player loses endurance, if that player has more than 30 endurance, and the Guardians is hidden, move into your visible area. They also have activate. If target player has 30 or more endurance, that player loses 2 endurance.
Huh. Well, I'll take you for 3.
I will take 3.
I done it.
I'm going to ping you for 2.
Oh.
Why?
I hear you. I hear you. That was weird.
I need different things than this.
Yeah. Okay. It is your initiative.
Yep. I'll put this here.
Yeah.
I'll be recruiting Madam Web. Whenever a Spider Friends character I control uses an activated power, gain 2 endurance.
Yeah.
Also, activate. Look at the top 2 cards of target player's deck. You may put those cards into that player's KO'd pile, or return them to the top of his deck in any order.
Right. Right on. So, with that in mind, I am going to recruit a Sentinel Mark II. The Sentinel Mark II has activate, discard a Sentinel character card from your hand to negate target activated character effect. So I could discard a card to save myself 2 life if I was so inclined.
That's
I will
true.
Form like this.
Is there no restriction on the number of times you can do that?
It is an activated power.
Hmm.
So there is.
I see. So first, I will activate Madam Web to look at the top 2 cards of my deck,
All right.
and maybe put them into my KO'd pile, and maybe put them back in any order.
Totally reasonable course of
I'm
action.
going to put them into my KO'd pile.
In any order.
I'm also going to gain 2 endurance.
Clever. Clever plan.
I didn't realize this until I read it recently. The KO'd pile is actually not ordered.
It is
It's
not
a non-ordered
ordered.
zone.
Huh. Novel.
So when you futz with it, as we tend to do during
Yeah.
the stream, that's totally appropriate. I will then activate the Guardians and ping you for 2.
That is an option.
I will not be gaining 2 because the Guardians are not spider friends.
That's true. That's true. That's true. So, I will not negate that.
Okay.
I'm going to attack Madam Web with the Sentinel Mark III for 2.
Yeah. I will take 2, 3, 4, 4.
I am counter stunned, and I will take 2. It's to you.
I will pass.
I'm going to take it for 5.
I will take 5.
I will then pass.
I will pass as well.
Draw a card.
Come on, draw some of the new stuff.
Okay.
Make this fun.
Well, that's an option. That would be funny. Be funny. It's my initiative.
Yep.
So I'm going to recruit Boulevard Trask to search. I need to think about what I search for here. I've got 2 options.
I'm actually... I'm going to activate Madam Web during my recruit step.
All right.
Or your recruit step,
Sure,
I guess.
sure.
So I will gain 2.
I'm gonna search
I will look at the top
for.
cards of my deck.
Boy, I got a tough choice here, actually. I'm gonna search for a 4-drop.
I will leave them there.
Alrighty. You may cut. And I am going to recruit a Sentinel, a Wild Sentinel. And also Senator Kelly. The Wild Sentinel has +1 attack. I guess I'll just use a white die. +1 attack this turn. Senator Kelly has activate to ping a player equal to the number of Army Sentinel characters I
Man,
control.
you have a really good setup. I wish I didn't miss my first turn.
It's a weird setup. I wouldn't call it quite ideal, but it's not nothing. Not nothing. And I will form actually probably like that. Yeah, alright. We'll do that.
Cost me 5 to play anything, or is it Army Sentinels?
It is non-stunned. So it's 5, but you can affect that by stunning my characters. So his ping is Army, this ping is not stunned.
How do I do this? think I gotta get pinged for a ton.
Yeah, yeah. Totally viable option.
It makes me sad.
I'm on board.
I'm going to recruit a Volcana.
A Volcana.
Or perhaps Volcana. Volcana's power, or perhaps Volcana, is activate. Target player loses 3 endurance.
Right on. Right on.
And I'm going to play from my resource row for a cost of 5. Pleasant Distraction, which I may do only during my attack step. So no.
No.
Nope. Won't be playing that.
Right on. Okay. All right. Clever. I was not prepared for you to not play Clever Distraction, or what was it? Pleasant Distraction? I don't remember the functionality exactly, so it's all right. It's my initiative. You have a Volcano.
I do have a Volcano.
I must attack that Volcano.
It's probably a good idea.
I have 6 defense. I think I do it with... I think I have to be sure. It's a little annoying. Interestingly, Madam Web can actually stun anyone on my team. I'm going to do it with... If I do it with these, you only think for just a second before I finalize this attack, before I officially declare this. So they're both +1. That would be 8 attack. I would be 2 over. 2 over seems pretty good. We'll go with those 2.
This turn is going to be so costly.
While you're contemplating, I will ping you for 3.
Oh, it's just 3.
Yeah, his
still,
is army.
Still quite costly.
It's a little less costly.
I'm going to play Forbidden Loyalties.
He's playing a card.
As an additional cost to play Forbidden Loyalties, to choose 2 different team affiliations among characters you control. You may discard a card. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on target character you control.
Oh man, are you going to go for the foil?
No. I'm going to activate and ping you for 2, and by 2 I mean 3, and gain 2.
Right.
Did I say the affiliations? They're Doom and Spider Friends.
Gotcha.
That's what I was going for.
So I take 3 from the ping. Okay.
And then I will be stunned, and I stun the 3-drop.
I'll take 3. Madam Web is... Sorry, you gain 2 life every time you use an activated power?
As long as it's a Spider Friends character.
Gotcha, which is why you did the team up. Sure.
And then, on my attack step...
Sorry, did you take your...
No.
Because, sorry, you were at... What were you at? You were at 41. So maybe you did, because you gained some life, too.
I didn't take either of them.
Okay.
So, 36 from the attack, and
3 from
5
Kelly.
from the ping. I did take the 3 from Kelly.
Oh, you took the 3 from Kelly.
I did not take the 5 from the playing the plot twist.
Right. And 4 for the stun you took.
Yes.
Cool.
I've taken it all now.
All right, cool.
And then I'm going to
Oh, God.
get
What are you
pinged for
doing?
4
Oh,
more
my God.
to play Pleasant Distraction, which I may only do during my attack step.
Mm-hmm.
Target character can't attack this turn. I will choose your Sentinel Mark 3.
Yeah, that's a good call.
And I will
Boy, that...
take
I guess
4
I should
more.
be glad I dealt you a bunch of damage, but...
I dealt me a bunch of damage, sir.
That's true. That's true. But you have stymied my stunning
Then I
of both
will
your
activate and ping you for... Oh, dear. These guys go visible.
I thought I was under 30.
It is.
I'm at 38.
I'm at 27.
Oh, when either player is under 30.
Yep.
That would give
So I need to do it first to ping you, and then they go visible. But I still do everything the same way.
Right. You need to do it first. What do you mean by that?
I technically don't.
So I will assume that statement did not have meaning. You
Is
said
it?
I need to do it first, and I didn't know what was going second.
I needed to ping you before I played Pleasant Distraction.
Oh, I see.
Which is a little true, but not as true as it seems.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Because if you do that, you're not under 30, so they stay hidden. Then you flip Pleasant Distraction. They can still be hidden if that's your choosing.
No, but by playing Pleasant Distraction, I'm pinged for 5, and then they turn visible.
Oh, because it's not on their power that they move visible. It's simply as soon as that happens.
Correct.
Okay. Now I face kind of a peculiar choice. It's kind of novel. The choice I face is, do I attack your 1-drop with Boulevard Trask? At face value, it seems like an obviously intelligent choice. Your character will be stunned, my character will not be stunned. If you do nothing, then you will lose them. I will get to keep Boulevard Trask. However, that character is a pretty massive liability for you now, and removing that liability for a single point of damage might actually be to my disadvantage. Because by leaving them on the board, I arguably make you susceptible to a much larger quantity of damage.
It's possible.
Does Volcana have range?
I don't know. Yep.
Alright, I'll tap for 1.
That'll work.
I think it's the right choice because Madam Web is still a health liability.
Done.
So, I am. I will keep my Mark III. However, it is now you who have the initiative.
Yeah, this frickin' ping is so good that ongoing plot twist. It's really gonna cost me a lot. Oh no, I screwed this up, didn't I? I did. Oh boy, that'll be interesting. I screwed it up.
Interesting. If it makes you feel any better, I too may have made a faux pas. We'll see. That's really funny. Not hilarious, but really funny.
I'm going to play Glorious Godfrey,
You would play Glorious Godfrey.
whose power is Activate. Exhaust target character with a cost of 4 or less. That character's controller loses endurance equal to that character's cost. Use this power only if you control another Darkseid's elite character.
Another Darkseid's elite character.
Correct.
Activate them, and Sorry, do I exhaust them and I take damage equal to cost?
Yep.
Okay. That's actually a very good card to have against this deck. That's pretty useful. Oh, it's doubly useful. That's kind of annoying. I am going to recruit Nimrod. We'll see if Mike picks up the cat attacking the door. It may not.
I doubt it.
So I have to think about my formation. I'm going to read Nimrod. Nimrod's interesting. Nimrod has Cosmic before Cosmic was a thing. When Nimrod comes into play, if you control another Sentinel character, which I do, put a repair counter on Nimrod. If Nimrod would become stunned, remove a repair counter from him instead. If you do, exhaust him, and he is not stunned. I don't have to say that anymore. So I'm going to form... This might actually be the correct formation. Is that true? Maybe bring them back here and protect them just to be a little annoying. Nope. Kelly? That's probably better. We want to activate Kelly. Now, it is worth noting that Senator Kelly pings for Army Sentinel characters, which does not include Nimrod. It's still only 3. This, however, is now up to 6, which, of course, will go down pretty quickly, perhaps. So, I am formed.
Yep. played this last time. I think I'm almost at the verge of conceding. Like that one ongoing plot twist is almost a hard counter to this deck.
Well, so the possible case, you could be right, but I would say the strategy I would use in your shoes, not knowing what you have,
I'm going to hit your 3-drop.
is start attacking me, is what I was going to say. Because my characters are all very, very fragile. So if you start stunning and removing my characters, this becomes less effective. So you will attack my 3-drop for 7. It's a good choice. So if I reinforce with the Wild Sentinels, I'm not getting a counter stun at the moment. Save myself a lot of damage for breakthrough. Do I need the Wild Sentinel? I might. I think I just eat the damage, which is kind of silly. So I will take 7. You are as printed?
Yep.
That puts me at 29. So then I will attack Volcana with Nimrod.
In which case, I will ping you for 3 and gain 2. And I will reinforce it.
Right. So then I think 3-drop. I think the next play is... Oh, interesting. I don't have enough flight to get to Madam. Well, I can fly with this guy, but it's kind of thin. Do I just play the long game for my initiative? Yeah, probably. Passing seems like... I will ping you for 3. And then I will pass. Can Godfrey fire his power at any time?
Yes.
Right on, Godfrey. Right on, Godfrey.
Come on. Can't catch a break.
Well, I do not have a 6-drop, so that'll help a little. I'm going to do some of my stuff, but not all of my stuff. Not the stuff I want to do with my 6-drop. So I will spend 5 of my resource points to recruit a Sentinel Mark V, which is a 4-drop and a boost. When they're ready, Army Sentinel characters I control, Army Sentinel characters have a reinforcement. And the boost is they just get 2 counters. And then I do have my Underground Sentinel base, which I can activate to bring out one of them. That is the Sentinel Mark 4, because counting. And they're the ones that get bonus for non-stunned Army Sentinel characters I control.
I can see.
Fair enough.
That was a terrible showing of this new deck.
I am sorry that was not a good show.
But it's very difficult to deal with that location.
Getting that early on and also getting a good flood of characters is pretty helpful. My opening hand was one of these, actually, and 3 different locations, which are all really, really, really useful. So it's like everything you could want except for any characters. And so I couldn't keep that.
You wouldn't know that was a new deck because I couldn't play my plot twists or anything. Or a modified deck.
That is fair. But the good news is that the next time you give it a go, a lot of it will be fresh still.
All of it.
Good.
I didn't play anything I hadn't played before.
That's fair. I did not. Yeah, I'd forgotten that you had commented that you were playing explicitly new and or modified decks, or trying decks in new spaces, and so I had forgotten that as we were playing and just assumed it was as it was.
Well, let's do better, Kyle. It was
Let's
not a
do
good
better.
start tonight.
Not
I
a
feel
good
really bad about that game.
I'm sorry that game was not better.
5 to play a plot twist.
Yeah, I don't know if there was. You did have one really clever play. The play with the counter and then removing my other character was really, really annoying because you shut down the 2-drop and my 1-drop. It was a very strange scenario where that counter.
Well, it cost me 9 life, 10 life to do it.
Did you play? Yeah.
Yeah, it cost me 10 life to do it. And it didn't avail me
Did you
anything.
play 2 from the resource
Yeah,
round?
I did.
Jeez. All right. This time we play yellow deck.
This is, I think it's going to be a AA. This is the weird one that I'm not sure how to classify. So, my gut says we'll try it in AA and see what the heck happens. It's not the type of deck I would usually play in AA.
Right on. Well, you think it's double A.
Yeah. It's got some fun new stuff in here, so I'm glad we got to this early enough. Hopefully Chris is still here for a little bit. Maybe he'll get to see some of the cards. They're early, so I won't show them off. You're not going to like them. I'm interested to see your reaction. They're very unique cards.
Very.
I've never seen cards like this card.
The hell? Strange. You did that last week too. Never seen anything like 10 rings. Something else. It took me looking at 7 different cards to be sure I picked up the right deck, and that is very abnormal.
I have some decks like that. Some decks.
Samba decks it. Alrighty, well, let me read this guy. We'll go outer. That worked for me last time.
You have won.
I did win. I will go.
Oh, no, that's a good start, but it's none of the new stuff.
I will go.
But I think it means I have to keep it anyway. And hope I draw the new stuff?
I guess I'm gonna go odds. But I'm not confident about that.
That's funny.
I will keep this hand. That's kind of novel. I actually think that statistically speaking, I think that I mulligan more than I keep by a pretty fair margin, I would wager.
That may be. You don't meditate enough in ashes.
I don't meditate enough in ashes. I don't know what brought that to mind. I don't see the connections. I am going to recruit. Did I go odds? I did go odds. I'm going to recruit an aspiring pawn. Whenever aspiring pawn causes breakthrough while attacking a player directly, gets a 1/1 counter, loses the version army, and gains the version knight.
I'm going to recruit Ratcatcher, whom you don't like.
I don't like him.
It's Ratcatcher. Whenever a character becomes stunned, each of your opponents loses 1 endurance.
Right. Joke's on you. By not attacking, I saved myself some life,
That's
so
true.
I will pass.
I will thank you for 1.
Yeah, take the 1.
You can attack him now.
No, I couldn't. Only 1 damage from Ratcatcher. That'll show you.
Interesting. That'll be fun. Later, though. Sadly.
It is your initiative. Hey.
It didn't quite work the way I wanted. I have Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn's power is discard Harley Quinn from your hand to power up target Arkham Inmates, attacker, or defender you control. Or activate target Arkham Inmates, defender you control has reinforcement this attack. I guess I'll do this.
Sure.
It's more annoying.
Yeah. That's fair. I
didn't draw the cool card, and I'm sad.
I have a Retrieval Protocol OMAC Robot. Retrieval Protocol has discard. See, it took 7 cards. Discard a character or location card. Characters I control with the identity OMAC Robot get +1/+1 this turn. Use only once per turn. And he's a 2/2.
Okay. Well, I have initiative.
If this is true,
I'm going to pass.
it's tempting to steal the initiative. I do that regularly,
You do,
but
yeah.
I'm not gonna. I'm gonna try to avoid it tonight. I am gonna attack Ratcatcher
Right.
for 2.
Well, I can boost Ratcatcher defense. I can boost it either by 1 or by 3, depending on whether you discard a card.
I'm gonna go with 3.
All right.
It is back to you.
I will pass.
Me too. What the hell? There's some strange stuff happening with this draw. This is a strange draw.
Yeah,
It's very strange. I wish I could explain it.
my draw is super strange as well.
It is now my initiative. Cool. I am going to recruit the Neutralization Protocol, an OMAC robot. Neutralization Protocol has stun another character you control to gain 1 resource point, which I can only spend to recruit a character card with the identity OMAC robot. Use only once per turn and only during my recruit step. I will not use it during my recruit step this turn. Such a weird draw. I don't know. Yeah, it's weird.
Mine's pretty weird too. I've got the Riddler. The Riddler's powers activate, discard an Arkham Inmate's character card from your hand. Target opponent chooses and discards a card from his hand. If the cost of that opponent's discarded card is not equal to the cost of the card you discarded, that opponent discards an additional card. Use this power only during the recovery phase.
Right.
I suppose I can do this because it doesn't matter.
Right. I'm going to... attack Ratcatcher.
This time it's gonna work.
Fair enough.
I will take 2, and you will take 1.
That is true. Ratcatcher is the exact opposite of old school Joker in that you always want to attack Ratcatcher.
I must pass. I did not draw an appropriate combination of
So
characters to
Riddler
fight.
is you activate him to discard, and if I do not match the discard cost, I discard an additional card. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna team attack him. Team attack and Riddler for 5.
Try to get the little one.
I do take 1. I will keep those little ones for now.
I don't even know if I can do
What?
this.
What? I can't even. Alright, we're going to do another camera show here, which is highly unusual. So I want to point out...
I need to concede. This draw became so strange.
Well, and I suppose I can publicly show. Well, let's point out, my draw is actually really good, but in a very, very weird way.
That's the distribution of drops I have.
Huh. So, I have my 1 drop, my 2 drop, my 3 drop, my 4 drop,
Let's
my
do this
5
one
drop.
again.
We can do it. My 4 drop and my 5 drop. I also have my 7 drop for when I need it. I drew 3 of this location and 3 of that plot twist. It was, by some measures, it was a near perfect draw. It was very, very strange to have an opening hand where I'm like, I guess these are all the pieces. And I didn't actually feel like I had a commanding advantage, not knowing what the situation was on your side of the table, simply because, like, my search is, a lot of it is discard to search. And against the discard deck, I'm not getting a head-on card, so it's actually very nervous. And I do have a little true card draw in here, but that...
Well, I have a different preferred 2-drop, a different preferred 3-drop.
Yeah. Well, we didn't get far,
I didn't get either of those, and the Riddler's super cool, but his stats are so bad that you can't really make him work.
Yeah, I feel like... Yeah, it's
which is why he's not my preferred 3-drop.
Right. He's terrifying. He's really scary. If you had tried to prevent me from stunning him with a thing, I probably would have had to discard to do it, because I really, really needed that stun. It was very, very scary. But again, I did not know the contents of your hand.
God damn it.
I guess we can roll again.
I guess that's a reasonable thing.
I will again go outer. Is that
You
inner one
give
on edge?
It's kind of. Any way it lands, you would win, though.
I suppose it's wrong. I leaned in and it moved, but yeah, if anyway, I guess that's true. I will again go odds.
I'm going to keep this. It's a little better. I have one of the new pieces. The one I really wanted to show you.
I will keep again. What? What?
I have a couple of the new pieces. This is going to be a funny game. I'm excited.
That's good. This card. I'm gonna read this here. Right. Gonna put that card there, just like I did. I'm gonna recruit Inspiring Pawn.
All right. This time, here. Pawn's going to upgrade. That sucks. I'm going to recruit Ra's al Ghul Leland McCulley, whose power is I may discard a future foe's character card from my hand rather than pay his recruit cost. He also has I may return him to my hand. Unless an opponent discards a card, target character loses and cannot have reinforcement this turn. I may only do this during the combat phase.
Right on. I'm gonna take it for 1.
I'm going to take it.
Once you have taken the direct damage, I get a counter, and Aspiring Pawn is no longer an army. We've asked this once before, but I'm curious. With an army character that is no longer army, it means he's no longer unique. But the question is, when I bring in a character, and I don't actually have another Aspiring Pawn in my hand, but if I did and I recruited it, does the army check occur because this guy had it? Or would this guy go away because he no longer has
I
it?
think he would go away. I'm not sure, though. That's probably a Chris question. A Chris question.
just kept rolling with that one. I'm going to think about that for a while. All right. What's your initiative?
Yay, I'm excited. Here we go. You ready?
No. Well, yeah, no.
When Tomorrow Woman comes into play, you may move her to target opponent's front row.
Oh my God.
Cosmic, at the start of the combat phase, discard a card.
Oh my God. That's horrifying. Yeah, you're damn right that's over there. Really? Jeez. I don't like that.
Chris is enjoying it.
Right. Well, I am going to recruit Retrieval Protocol, OMAC Robot. I can discard a character or location card to give characters I control with the identity OMAC Robot +1/+1 for the turn. I guess it's your initiative.
I'll pass.
I'm going to attack you. Well, I can't.
Can't
I'm
team
gonna
attack
start
with
with
her.
her.
I
Does
will
that
take
trigger?
4 at the start of the combat phase, so you discard
right
your card.
now. Oh man, I don't like this. Just go with them. That's really alarming.
And
then I will attack you for 4 more.
I'll take 4 more.
And get a counter.
Stupid. Aspiring Pawn.
I'll pass again. I assume you pass.
Oh, goody. That's even more exciting.
I don't like it. Don't like it. It's my initiative. I'm not sure how to do this because of jerk face. That's silly. That's so good. It's so powerful. It's like guaranteed discard 2 cards.
Well, identity and version are not the same thing. It's right there in the name. Besides, you're unique based on your name, not your identity or your version.
Well, but the question is how army works. Because it says it loses the version army and gains the version knight. So army is a version, not an identity.
Right.
But army
Army's
is the
also
thing
a
that...
keyword. Army's special.
Right.
So maybe it still has the army powers, but it has a different version then? I don't know.
Maybe. So I'm not going to recruit anyone.
Alright. I'm going to recruit Brainiac 4. Whenever Brainiac 4 becomes stunned by a character of lesser cost, your opponent... that character's controller discards a card.
Huh. What are you doing?
Play Sorcerer's Suppression only if you control a future foe's character and only during the combat phase. I assume we get to the combat phase.
Sure. So I have to discard a card.
Yes. Exhaust target character with cost 3 or less unless an opponent discards a card. I will choose Tomorrow Woman.
That's annoying. Well, then the appropriate play is to team attack you, which I will do.
I will take 4.
You'll take 5.
5? I will take 5.
Get him, pawn. Okay.
Brainiac 5 will attack Tomorrow Woman. Tomorrow Woman?
Tomorrow Woman.
For 6.
Yeah. Take 6, and I have to discard again because you're a jerk. I do lose the counter, however. I'll discard that.
It worked.
It's horrible. It's so horrible. It's so uncomfortable. I'm gonna keep her.
Fair enough.
I sure hope you don't have ways to put cosmic counters on my characters. That would be
silly.
mean.
Boy, my draw sure is weird, though.
Yeah. F me. What is happening?
So I have initiative. I can do one of 2 things.
God damn it. This draw is not as... It's still an okay draw, but it's not as good as last time, and you making me discard endless cards is peeving. I dare say.
What do I do in this circumstance? I missed 4, which is kind of sad. I have initiative. So I do this. What do I do? This. I recruit Harley Quinn and Tomorrow Woman.
What? So she is lost.
Nope.
No?
You can have both of them, sure.
You get both? When
The
Tomorrow
uniqueness
Woman comes
check
into
occurs
play-
on my side of the table.
Right, she enters.
She's
That's
nobody's
weird.
KO'd, and then she's moved to your
And
front.
she has no version or no team affiliation, so she can't even reinforce herself.
Correct.
Weird. This is a weird card. I hadn't even noticed the lack of affiliation match. That's so strange. Yeah. What on earth do I do with this here? You're gonna get me to discard 2 more cards this turn. That's so peeving. That's ridiculous. There's also a circumstantially bad thing that has occurred that is causing me a great deal of pain. So what do I do under this circumstance?
Should probably start dealing you damage at some point. You're winning the damage game by a lot.
Yeah, I mean, gonna need to. It's so terrible.
Missing 4 is not ideal.
You're gonna make me discard 2 more cards. Unless I protect those characters. Which is stupid. Nothing makes sense anymore, Ian. God.
I'm happy this deck is working the way I imagined.
My hand will be empty, no matter what I do. Unless
If
I literally...
you play a resource
if I play
and
a
recruit a
resource.
character.
Right. But if I don't do that... That's so awful. That's interesting. So I'll recruit the Elimination Protocol. The Elimination Protocol... A card must have a valid target in order to perform its payment.
Yes, so there's two valid target checks. So one to pay the payment, and
Yep.
one then to resolve the effect.
Right. So
Read the card though. You
I
stop in
will.
the middle.
It doesn't matter. It says KO a character you control. Recover target stunned character you control with the identity OMAC robot. So I guess I can't do it with her anyway.
You can KO,
use the power
you
only
can
once per
KO
turn.
her,
She does not have the identity OMAC robot.
but you
I would have to
recover
do
a
that.
character with the identity OMAC robot. You didn't say you KO a character with the identity OMAC robot.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. So I need to have one of them stunned, and by one of them I mean this guy. And then if I did, and it were my initiative, which it's not, I could make that work and then
Yeah.
do
you-
some
you
stuff.
could
But
KO Tomorrow Woman.
then, and this is a little painful to do, but I'm going to recruit Laser Watch, which gives a character a +2 attack and range. When it comes into play, I can equip it to a checkmate character. I can exhaust the location I control to draw a card, which I'm not going to do. And I'm going to take this thing, and I'm going to put it somewhere. I'm going to put it on this guy. I'm going to discard a card. For his power, to discard a character location card, and characters I control with the identity OMAC robot get +1/+1 this turn, used only once per turn. And that's just them. So for this turn, they are both like this. And by this I mean one more character. Out of cards. See
Yep.
how much damage I can deal you.
It's probably a lot.
I hope it's a lot. It's your initiative.
Is it?
It is.
Man, I missed 4 on my initiative. That's sad. Well, I'm going to hit the Tomorrow Woman without a counter.
You said you missed 4 on your... Oh, I see. You didn't get the 4 drop.
Yeah.
Right. You're going to hit Tomorrow Woman.
No.
This one with the
No.
counter?
Mm-mm.
Okay, just checking. You're going to hit this one.
Yeah.
Alright, so I take 6 again. No, I take 5, sorry.
Actually, scratch
Why? I don't have 50 life. Something is wrong. How many times have you hit me? You hit me once.
Just
and
once,
So
I
I
believe.
took
So I hit you
5, so
once
I'd be at
last
45.
turn. What I am actually going to do...
Yeah.
Interesting. What does the watch do?
+2 attack and flare range. I forget which. Doesn't matter. Yes, it's +2 attack.
I'm going to play Kundian Warship. While an opponent has fewer cards in hand than you, defenders he controls get -1 defense, and future foes characters I control have flight. I will attack your 2-drop in the rear. It's one more damage.
Sure. And you stun something that matters to me. Okay.
I'm not going to stun 2 somethings, so it doesn't
Yeah,
terribly
I guess
matter.
that's true. So, sorry, your attack is 6.
Your defense is -1.
-1, which negates the counter, so yeah, so I take 6. Right. So the correct play is to hit you with the Tomorrow Woman for 4.
I will reinforce myself, and I'm taking a lot more.
Yeah. It's gonna be a good chunk.
You just add it up, I ain't going to do anything else.
Fair enough. So it will be 4, 12, 16, and I get a counter.
I'm so losing the life gain. I think you're going to win this very handily.
I mean, I'm top decking here, so I basically have to win with what's on the board or draw. Now, actually, in this deck, more than any other deck, there's a high probability I'll draw something useful because I don't have a lot of high-end stuff. That's hilarious. I can do a really silly thing, and I'm glad. So it is turn 5, which is my initiative. How do I do this? I have 2 choices that are stupid, and that makes them great.
I think I would have won this if I hit my 4-drop.
That is a possibility. I have no idea what your 4-drop is.
Doesn't matter. he's not a 1/1.
Sure. The flip side of that is I would have had my 5-drop this turn instead of not.
Why?
Because I wouldn't have discarded 2 cards. I would have discarded only 1.
I stunned my 3-drop.
The 3-drop and this are the 2.
Yes, but you threw out one of the 2 cards.
Which I would not have done if you had. I would have played it more
Gotcha.
close to chest. So
I would have gotten it. Don't worry about it.
fair enough. I don't know what the 4-drop is, so maybe. So I'm going to spend 3 resource points, even though I'm not putting down a resource, to recruit Neutralization Protocol OMAC Robot. I can stun another character I control to gain a resource point. I can spend that resource point only to recruit another character with the version OMAC Robot. Do I want to do that or not? A weird choice.
You want to hang on to your card, you can get rid of the counter with that power.
Well, yeah. I could get rid of the counter. So the funny thing is I have a 2-drop. So I could stun a character and recruit my 2-drop, because I have 1 resource point left over.
Sure.
Or I could discard the 2-drop to give all my OMAC robots a +1/+1.
Sure.
Since I don't have any cards in my hand, either way, the counter doesn't hurt me.
That's true.
So now the choice is, do I stun the character? I think the answer is no, because I need all the attack on the board, which means I don't use the power. And when we get to the combat phase, I will be... I can actually use this at any time. I can do it any time. Discard. All my dudes is +1/+1. And by all my dudes, I mean characters I control the version OMAC Robot. And for my formation... I do have to think about that just a moment before I see what you're recruiting. I guess I probably know what my opening attack is, almost no matter how you slice it. Okay.
Well, I got my 5-drop.
Yep.
I think it's too little too late, but she is Catwoman. Whenever
is
Catwoman stuns a
Catwoman.
defender, choose one, draw a card, or target player discards a card.
Yeah. So I'm going to attack Catwoman. It's part of my plan.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do it with... I've got to go a little aggressive here on it, because if I miss on it, it'd be real bad. So I think I have to include my big guy. So my attack, if I did this, man, I need to get you to 13. It's actually going to be a tough situation I'm in.
Huh.
I think I might. Do I include 3 characters? I think I do. I include 3. I'm going to do it with these 3. So my total attack is 5, 5, and 5 is 15. I need to account for you doing horrible things.
Yeah, you've got me handy. So I will go for the larger character, which is the 3-drop. Actually, get the guy with the watch.
Sure. Get my watch.
So I will take 5. I'm at 8, which is exactly the attack of your tomorrow women,
That is true.
unfortunately.
Or mine.
Doesn't matter. I will attack that guy. Yep.
All right, because you have flight everywhere. Yeah. That's true.
I'll go ahead and power up twice. And I'll play Chain Lightning for -4 defense.
Ouch.
That's all I got.
So your attack is
8.
8, and my defense is 4. So I take 4 break and 4 for the stun. I take 8. Though I do get the counter stun.
Turns out 4-drop was crucial. And I take 8 more
Yep.
slowly.
Yep. So 8 more slowly. Jeez. I don't even know. I don't know what's going on, Ian. I don't know how I feel about anything I've just witnessed. I'm so confused. Part of me is like, this card's ridiculous. Partially because it is kind of ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Especially when paired with that 3-drop.
Exactly.
You get like a guaranteed...
This is the fun new play. This is
you guaranteed discard 3 cards.
these 3.
And you want odds. You definitely want odds, I
Yeah.
would think.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you want to lead against her with this on. Even
It might go either way.
I mean,
I
unless
have
you have
some other
another
cool
later
powers, you know.
But what you don't want is me to get the extra 4 damage with her, because then what you have done with this setup and why it's so terrifying and why it's so important to have initiative on odds is because you guaranteed make me discard 3 cards, and all I hit you for is 4 life. Pay 4 life, your opponent discards 3 cards, which is insanity. That's madness. The only real price you pay for it is you don't know how much damage my 3-drop is going to do. That's the unpredictable factor. But man, what an insane play that is. Guaranteed 4 life for 3 cards, unstoppable. I'm trying to imagine cards in the game that counter that, and I don't know what does. Anything that lets me stun my own stuff, which is almost non-existent. There actually are a very small number of decks that might do it, but I think it's team stamp stuff. She has no team. I guess it's a high attack amount.
It's scary. Like, I'm betting that I'm crippling you fast enough that I can win, even giving you the advantage early.
Right.
It's not a huge advantage because she's not team stamp, but 4 attack on 3, which I'm going to take probably twice.
I mean, if you had a card in almost any deck that said, pay 8 life for your opponent to discard 3 cards, that's real good. Now, I do.
Well, I have to hit, like, that's a 3-card, it's a minimal 2-card combo.
That's
so
true.
I have
you
to hit those
you
drops.
need 2 cards. And the one other caveat is it does put you in a negative board state as well. Yeah. Because I also do get to hit you with my 2-drop, should I recruit one. But boy, if I miss early drops against that deck, it's ruinous. Because you have to take advantage of that board position, or you're just going to get wrecked something fierce. There are no late game
other
plays.
Scary stuff in here.
Jeez.
I look forward to showing it to you someday.
And that's, I mean, that has potential in the AA category for sure. So is that a brand new deck or a heavily modified
No,
discard
that's
deck?
that's the you will discard deck, and but it's about 20% different, maybe 30.
Have you got search in there to fill in those early drops?
There is not search in there, no.
So there is a big chance that you got both the pieces that time though, which was pretty impressive. The last
So
one's
we're
S.
double A. I mean S.
I will go the outer die, which has served me well throughout this evening.
And
except that time.
This is, of course, that's interesting.
So you will get dims. Yeah, that's correct, Chris. It gains the version Knight.
He asked that quite a while ago.
Yeah, sorry. I was wondering if a card did.
This is maybe a reasonable thing.
Wouldn't
Did you win or lose that roll?
I did lose.
This is an...
Yeah, that's an interesting question, Chris. It does not have a stated identity. It only changes the version. So it's, I mean, army characters always share the name and identity in that instance. So the name and identity isn't what changes. What changes is the aspect of it that lets me have multiples. Yeah, I don't know when that check is performed and like what origin card.
Did you cut my deck, or did I just like start going? And...
I'm not sure. I don't know. I was shuffling. I probably did not cut. Is it good enough hand? You want to just keep it?
It's not bad. It's not great.
Well, if you didn't,
I'll
if you didn't stack this time,
do you want to cut? I don't mind.
That's fine. We'll keep going. Let's see what happens.
It's not great. It really isn't great.
You would like me to cut.
No, that's fine.
No.
Optitron.
Oh my word.
Pay 1 resource point, discard a Teen Titans character card from your hand. Search your deck for a Teen Titans character card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Shuffle your deck. Use this power only once per turn. I will pay 1 resource point and discard Connor Kent Superboy to go get Cole.
Discard a card and pay a resource point to search?
Yep.
Can't decide if that's an expensive search or not. A resource point for a search and discard? No, wait a second, try. Yeah, I guess you don't have to exhaust for it. A lot of search usually involves exhaust, so that exchange for exhaust.
I still can only do it once a turn.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. You've spent your resource point. What? You went odds? So
yeah.
Oh, okay. I do not have a one drop I wish to play. I don't know what you're going to have. I have Black Cat. Black Cat has evasion. Whenever Black Cat becomes stunned, you may discard a card if you do draw a card. It's Cole. She's Cole.
Teen Titans characters you control get +1 defense for each stunned character you control.
Yep.
You're just going to invade draw.
I'm thinking about it. It's Cycle.
Cycle, whatever. Whatever.
No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna pass.
Alright, I'll pass too.
Yeah. So annoyingly specific.
While you control Hank Hall, Don Granger gets +1/+1. Boost 2. When Don Granger comes into play, search your deck for a character named Hank Hall and put it into your front row. Shuffle your deck.
Hunk tall.
Hank Hall.
Hunk tall it is. Right on.
While you control Don Granger, Hank Hall has +2/+2.
Sure.
Having a good draw, this might be a good test.
No, alright. Is this one that you normally play in double A's?
Yes.
We'll see how my draw rounds out. It's still undecided on the caliber of this draw. There are aspects of it which are excellent. There are aspects of it which are not. You're formed like that?
Yep.
I'm going to recruit Maddie Franklin. Maddie Franklin has evasion, just like Black Cat. She also has pay 2 endurance this turn. Exhaust target visible character use only once per turn and only if she is attacking. I will form like this. You've only got flight on one character.
Very few, actually. I wouldn't say very many.
Yeah, definitely a very small percentage. Though I actually do have one in the OMAC robot deck as well.
There's an Avenger that does it as well. There's other Titans that do it.
Yeah. Team attack decks are a little more prone to it, I guess. Any kind of swarm deck, but it's infrequent for sure.
I think I need to team attack Maddie Franklin.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. That's not bad.
Usually it doesn't get you ahead of the curve. Usually you wind up spending extra resource points as though you had close to both cards in your hands already.
I will deal the damage to your larger character.
I will reveal that I have Tamaran. I don't know why I'm doing this. I guess I'll let you do that.
Okay. I don't remember which one Tamarin is. It's all good.
So I take 2.
Yeah. Alright. I take 3.
Oh, I do know. I do have to do that. Sorry. I'm
Okay.
gonna make you stunned on. Activate. Put the top card of your deck in your KO'd pile. Power up. Target Teen Titans attacker or defender.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna take 1 less.
Gotcha. Powered up Dawn with Dawn. How novel. I am actually going to evade. Think about how I can do it. I mean, I evade. I'm going to take 2. And I'm going to pass, and then you're going to hit me
I
with
hit you
call
for
for
1.
1.
Yeah.
So I'll take the additional 1 now. But I am going to trigger the deck cycle power this time, which means I'm going to
Can I
discard.
proceed? I don't need to wait for you
You
to do
may
it.
proceed. I just need to decide which of these cards I want to ditch. You are evens.
That's where it went screwy.
What is the likely outcome? I think I'm going to discard Man Thing to draw a card. As a reminder, evasion says they recover for free at the start of the recovery phase. And I will do so. No. Big no. Big no. Really, really big no.
My draw got weird.
Amen. It is
Your initiative.
my initiative. I'm going to not recruit anyone this turn.
Oh no. I'm sorry.
Giving you your
Doesn't
big-
matter that my draw is
big
weird
chance
then.
here,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think this is a good chance too.
Helps a lot when I don't.
I'm gonna recruit Beast Boy.
Oh no!
Whenever you hate Beast Boy and it never amounts to anything. Whenever Beast Boy attacks or is attacked, put a 1/1 counter on him. I'm also going to activate Optitron. I will discard Coriander to go get Garth. Do I want Garth? Do I want Red Star? That's a tough question.
I agree.
I'm going to. Red Star is the right choice if I can get a T-Jet. Or maybe I have one. I'll get Garth.
Sure.
I get Red Star.
Alrighty then.
Red Star has his own behind curve power, so. This draw is weird but kind of effective.
Sure wish I'd gotten a 4-drop. I'd be a lot happier.
Well, I played
or
it.
a character.
I underdropped, so.
It's true.
And my 3-drop starts out smaller than a 3-drop, just a little bit.
Yeah. That said, you do have 2 2-drops, a 1-drop, and a 3-drop. Gives you a slight edge at the moment. It is my attack. Oh, I need this. Effing coal makes people bigger.
This makes it a bad test
It
because you
may
missed
well.
that big drop. But 4 is a terrible drop to miss.
It's really
4 is the
bad.
beginning of the drop that's like oh, that
really
changed the game.
significant. Yeah. No, the thought had occurred to me.
We had missed 4 last game, and I think it's what cost me the game.
Right. Beast Boy gets countered whenever he engages in combat.
Correct.
So here's the stuffs that are going to happen.
With some help, maybe you can make him into a 4-drop.
Yeah.
Want to make him a 4-drop, Kyle?
I'm leaning against that. Man, it's so bad. And your characters get bigger when stuff happens, and I hate that. You got a power up sitting on the board.
I do. Possibly 5 more.
That's true. That's very fair. I'm going to attack Dawn Granger for 4.
Oh, you have flight.
Ha!
Interesting.
Suck it, Beast Boy.
So the proper course is to reinforce Dawn Granger and to reveal that I have Liberty Island base. Activate target defender with reinforcement gets +1 defense this attack. If it's Teen Titans defender gets +3 instead.
That's so
So
bad.
my defense is 5, and you exhausted Beast Boy, right?
Yeah. No, I did not.
I thought you said
I
you
did
exhausted someone.
So now I could use Maddie's power, knowing that my attack is failing. I guess it's not failing yet because you haven't used the power up yet. Technically, we're tied right now. Your defense is 4, is that right?
No, it's 5.
Oh, she's 2-2. Right. Yeah, that's pretty great. Yeah, I will exhaust Beast Boy. And then we bounce. Boy, I am not happy about this scenario here.
Hank Hall will attack Black Cat.
Yep. That'll work. You are a 4-4.
4-4.
Okay, I will take 3. I will deck cycle.
If you pass,
Which I will.
I will play Combat Reflexes. Move target character control to your front or support row. That character gets +3 attack while attacking this turn.
That's pretty
Attack
disastrous.
Maddie Franklin for 5, and I will throw in my power.
Sure. Well, the sad reality is I have my best place to evade. So I'll take 3 from the evasion, and you are ready.
And then I will hit you for just 2.
Yeah. 8, 36. So I take this about the same amount of damage, but I get to keep the characters, which is pretty important. 36. Oh. I mean, one of the arguments, as I think I've said in the past, for that being a legitimate S deck is, in fact, the locations, because all of your locations are, or at least the 2 that you have up now are decent stat mods. We know you've got at least 2 more, or 1 more, I forget, that has really good stat modification powers, and you get to use them every turn.
I have initiative, don't I?
Yeah.
How about that? I'll be recruiting Red Star. Red Star's power is whenever Red Star becomes powered up, he can't be stunned while attacking this turn. And he also has the power, pay 1 resource point, target player loses 5 endurance. Uses power only once per turn and only if you control another Teen Titans character. I will do that.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that'll work. Let's think about what I can do now. Geez, if I do that, you're just gonna do that like a jerk. Because why not? 40. Really wish I'd gotten 4. That would have been really, really, really useful. I'm going to recruit Venom. Promptly get pummeled by Red Star. Venom says at the start of my attack step, may exhaust target physical character of cost 4 or less.
That's a lot of exhaust you got over there. That's sad.
Well, Venom isn't going to get to do it.
Probably
Maddie will.
not. Probably not. I must team attack Venom like this. That is 11.
That's a big attack. Any power-ups at this time?
So, were I to power up Red Star, you could then not stun Red Star and would be forced to stun Hank Hall. If if I don't power up Red Star, you could stun Red Star, but I'd have a power up for a subsequent attack, which might avail me something.
Right.
So I might let you have Red Star.
Yeah, that's a fair case. Well, as things currently stand, I will attempt to deal the damage to Red Star.
I will accept it.
And I will take 5 from the attack.
I think 1/1 and a subsequent attack is more valuable than that to life.
That's reasonable.
No matter whom else you stun, I will be recovering Red Star, so it kind of doesn't matter.
Pretty likely.
But I really think you should team attack Beast.
Well, I mean, there's actually a case for that now. Simply because
I would ditch him.
you would ditch
Yeah.
Beast Boy.
Yeah.
But I have to think about it.
Beast Boy, not without some plays.
Well, I mean, all of your characters have the same defense. If I were to attack with both characters.
Dawn Granger doesn't, but I see what you're saying.
Dawn Granger doesn't what now?
She has less defense than everybody else.
Right. Sorry, yeah, your 2 front row characters specifically is what I'm referring to. Because right now on the board, you can give yourself... So, how does the bonus defense on defense work? Which is so obnoxious.
It's +3 for a reinforced defender.
Can you reinforce a character that's been team attacked?
You can.
It's so brutal. Boy, that's an imposition. Then the correct play is to make you use that by attacking Dawn Granger with Maddie Franklin again.
Right. And I will do the thing. I will reinforce, and I will give her +3 defense.
When you do that, we'll pay 2 attack to exhaust Beast Boy.
Right. Yep. I can't move Dawn anymore. Or can I? And I'm choosing not to.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's
So I
terrible.
pass.
Yeah. I will... Could evade and deck cycle. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to discard Black Cat to draw a card. I also should take 2 damage. Okay. Now this is the turn I need to do something real amazing. Or I am in serious trouble. How many cards have you actually gotten rid of here? I gotta look. You got 4.
I didn't power up that turn. Oops. I should have.
You didn't have a lot of opportunities to do it. And it was a very strange turn.
I should have done it when you attacked Dawn. I should have been able to see that it was my last opportunity.
Sure.
But I didn't. It was a misplay.
Well, might give me a chance. We'll see. Alright, we're going to do this. And we're going to repoot. It's got to be Daredevil. Daredevil has pay to attack this turn. Exhaust target visible character. Use only if he is attacking. I'll put it in the background. Behind. Blank.
That's ballsy. Especially because I
Oh,
know
that
you've
is
read her
support
already.
route. Yeah, no, it's support route. Maybe that's not correct. Let me think about that. I thought
I
she
am
was the front row.
too short, you said?
Yeah, you're too short at the moment, so you need to get 2 more. Yeah, 1 of her is already in your pile. 2 of her are in your pile. What are the odds that you have a 3rd Coriander and that Coriander is in your hand?
Well, you should be asking yourself, what are the odds of that, and then I can get 2 additional cards into my KO'd pile.
Seems unlikely. Get 2 cards into your KO'd pile that are both characters, and to have Coriander. Now, admittedly, there is the argument you can use your power any time, which means you could actually use it at the start of turn 7.
That's true.
That is more likely. Blackfire can get any front row character, but she does cost you a fair amount of life to do it, if I remember correctly. Boy, do I think... Alright, so here's the real question. Do I think I can get more mileage? She attacks if she has some restriction. Oh, lousy. I think it's more likely you'll have Blackfire. The only other possibility is that you recruit Garth to get Coriander to use her power next turn. However, if you did that, you would be getting a Coriander out of your KO'd pile, which actually means you need 3 additional cards in your KO'd pile for Coriander to get Daredevil. We'll form like this, rather like that part, and see what happens.
Okay, so let me review your powers before I decide what I do.
Yeah, so Venom at the start of my attack
Venom
step, yeah.
at the start of your attack step, which is immediately, will exhaust somebody.
Probably Red Star, but not certainly.
Maddie Franklin, if she is attacking, can pay 2 endurance to exhaust 1 character once.
To attack, yes.
To attack, to exhaust 1 character once?
Correct. Like, that's just deck cycle.
Daredevil is paid to attack to exhaust a character infinity times.
Yes, though I must, of course, pay attack each time. So, technically up to 6.
Right.
Cannot pay attack, I do not have.
Fascinating.
Yes.
I wish I had a different character
Yes.
that I cannot get. Let me look at this card. Sorry.
No.
Let me look at this card.
Yes, that card. Sure is important that I make a hell of a lot out of this turn. This is the turn that I need to, like, do a lot. So I'm hoping that you don't have a 6-drop. And there's a chance with that deck, because it doesn't usually have a lot of 6-drops.
Oh, I hope I'm remembering this card correctly. I'm going fishing.
Going fishing. Paying the resource point to fish?
I'm going to discard Cole and pay a resource point to go get Terra.
Terra does stun or KO or something? It's interesting.
Terra's power is Loyalty. Activate KO a location you control. If you do, place the top card of your deck into your resource row and stun target character with a cost of 3 or less.
Interesting. Right on.
So I'm going to recruit Terra.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to activate Terra to replace Optitron and stun Maddie Franklin, whom I'm sure you will evade with.
I will evade.
I
still
will
take
then
3.
pay my remaining resource point to ping you for 5 with Red Star.
Yep. At this point, your advantage
was
is
the right thing to
so
do.
significant that is the right choice. It just burned me down. Right. Well, do we enter the combat phase?
Yep.
We'll exhaust Red Star. Then, Interesting. I think the right play is to attack Terra. Attack Terra with Venom? It's a bit odd, but might be the right choice. This card is so specific, and it's really annoying. Yeah. think I go for Terra with them. Let's try that.
It's not the right number, Kyle.
Yep.
I still have to try.
Yep.
I'm going to play Shape Change.
Yep.
Put the top card of your deck in your KO'd pile. Target defender you control gets -X attack and +X defense, where X is the cost of the card you put in your KO'd pile this way.
Yeah.
That cost is 7.
Oh my god. Well, when you roll the best you can roll. Oh my word.
So I am a 0-14.
Man, no breaks this game, that's for damn sure.
Whew.
I even have some stat modification, but you're not ready for +7 defense on defense ever. That's usually off the table. Alright. It's to you.
Well, sadly I don't have flight, so I may just go for Black Beast Boy finally giving him a counter.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Righto.
So sorry.
I mean, that's insane. On the plus side, I think it's the first time we've ever seen you flip a 7 with shape.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
I think I've seen a 5.
The average number is 2.5, a little bit below.
So I'm gonna play a What Are Friends 4. Target attacker gets -5 defense this attack.
Okay. I think that's going to just work. Let me look at my stuff again. I'll take 3.
I'll take 3 as well, which is 25% of my life. I don't know why that's not sideways. I can't believe you foiled that. That's bonkers. I was ready for a lot, but you aren't ready for that. Daredevil will attack. Man, I did not get Terra. That's real bad. Oh god, it's so bad. Really needed to get Terra. You're at 42 life. Like, that's how bad this has been. Oh,
It's been bad. Well, before it was clutch.
before it was so bad. Well, Daredevil's gonna hit. It probably still Terra,
It's
and that's
yeah,
stupid.
You should hit Terra.
Yep, I'll hit Terra.
I will power her up.
Yep.
And then her defense is 9, so your attack is 12.
Yeah.
I will take 7.
Yeah.
If you don't exhaust anyone.
Let me think about that. You could team attacking Venom is pretty silly. You don't have quite enough attack. Even if you've got the attack buff and you get him, I could even just evade to foil it and take more damage.
Venom
I guess
has evasion? What a jerk.
he does. I mean, it's a 5-drop, so it's a high cost. I guess I could exhaust Hank for 2. I'll exhaust Hank just to make it tougher on you.
Take 5. Then.
Yeah. Got you below 40. Let's draw those.
Keep Terra.
Did you actually stun both of them legitimately? I think you did. Did I want to cycle when you stunned Black Cat? Because I should.
I think you evaded with Maddie, did you not? When I
Oh yeah, I
her?
would have done it. So I got him back. I'm still gonna. I should fire Black Cat's power cycle. It's silly not to do that. I mean, that's a thing that happens.
Of course, I will be recruiting Coriander and activating to stun your 6-drop.
Yep. Yep.
I will then pay my remaining resource to ping you for 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I will activate and replace Liberty Island base to stun your 3-drop during the build phase,
Yeah.
during my recruit step.
Yep. Yep. So the 3 things are Coriander,
Stuns
Terra.
the 6-drop. Terra stuns the 3-drop, and Red Star pings you for 5.
right. That just puts me negative right there. I can't. There's one card that's so funny. Yeah. I mean that'll work. So 6 plus 3, and I guess I evade, is 9, and 5 is -2.
I love killing my opponent during the build phase.
yeah, that's legit.
It's rare.
I don't have a 7-drop.
I don't either.
Yeah. I do, like you, have a way to spend some resources. Can I do 40 damage and not take any? That seems unlikely. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to play that against characters. It doesn't matter. So we have learned that deck can beat an S deck if it misses.
It misses 4.
drops.
So as long as you miss 4, it's good in this too.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've often said it's a contender.
Well, that's why. I mean, honestly,
God.
you had probably been saying it for a long time, and I had not noticed, and I only noticed because I was reviewing a video.
Yeah.
So I said, let's try it. That's not a very strong argument, but an argument that maybe it's correct.
Well, and again, part of the case is the stat modification in that deck is what bumps it up to S tier. It's
There's a
got a lot
super
of clever
good draw
stuff,
too.
but
I nailed that draw.
well, what's interesting is
I nailed that bounce too.
that was unbelievable. I mean, there were a couple of moments where I could have had a chance, but missing 4 completely was bad. And then also missing.
It looks like we're wrapping up right on time, which is ideal. Even though we were a couple of chatterboxes.
It's very weird. So, on a side note, 4. It's funny. I think I said this the last time I played this deck. 4 is the linchpin drop of the deck,
no.
and I have missed it both of the last times I've played it. I can't get it. The stat modification in this deck is unbelievable. I had so much stat modification, and none of it mattered that whole game. So weird.
Well, I mean, even at 14, that's close to Venom's attack.
Yeah.
But I did have the power, so it would have been 15 effective, but still. 5's a lot.
Yeah.
But not for a deck that you claim is good at stat modification.
Yeah. Well, it's the thing that makes this deck pretty potent is it's actually got a
It
lot
does the
of
swap attack and defense stuff.
yeah, and it's got a lot of versatile stat modification. I don't know, it's nutty. That's unbelievable.
Well, I'm comfy with these guys up here, and we'll keep trying it. And if they suddenly start to suck, why was that so hard to say?
Yep.
Why am I using so much alliteration?
Mhm. Also hard to say, apparently. Whew.
Consonants. We'll discuss. But next week, I think we can go back to this.
Yeah.
We got through all our stuff,
Yeah, I
and
think
these have all the adjustments we made built in, so that's what we'll be doing.
Yeah, that was good. Man, I feel like my first game's emotional. Like the way you respond to the first game's the way I responded to the last game. I think
It was tough. Yeah.
kind of a bad card night, I think. The middle stuff was okay. But
Well,
the first game and the last game were not
I
good.
enjoyed the last game because my deck drew well, and it's fun to have your deck work. And I
Sure.
enjoyed the second version of the second game
Yes.
because I got to show off the new stuff, and it was scary.
No, I agree.
I lost tremendously.
The second game, the second attempt at the second game was good. We'll ignore that piddling 0,
Hey, Chris stuck with us the
whatever
whole
game.
time. That's
But
so
yeah,
rare.
And I had the same issue there. Like I enjoyed
Thanks,
the
Chris.
first game because
Yeah.
my deck did I got to do the ping strategy from the start. And actually, I don't normally do that. I usually rely on the crazy 6-drop play where I bring out 3 things
Well,
and.
The reason that was a frustrating game, and it might have been clear, is I do need to play some of the team ups to make
Right.
the ping deck work.
Right.
And by making them all cost 5,
Yeah.
it really just wasn't going to come together.
Right. Yeah, it's tough. I do wonder if strategically there were several turns where you did some pings, and I don't know if there were more aggressive options available. Maybe there weren't. The stats in that deck are very weird.
The only difference would be were I to attack with Volcana, really.
Yeah, I mean you could attack with Madam Web.
She's a linchpin, though. I can't lose her. That's why I make crazy plays to keep her.
That's the weird thing though is individually my characters were costing you more than Madam Web was gaining you.
But that's not supposed to be the case, and that shouldn't be the case later.
Right.
Like, that's the build-up, is when I have, 5 characters and I gain 10 life a turn.
Yeah, no, that's
And
fair.
I've got some new tricks in there that
Yeah,
work
that's
with it,
fair.
too.
That's fair. No, that's fair. But yeah, that last game, man, there were really only 2 things that were frustrating. It was the that Raven, and then the complete whiff on 4 was terrible. Because I had also missed 1. So
Well,
to miss 1, 4, and it's like
what
I
it gave
need- I
me the
need that.
opportunity to do, which is something that the Titans can do and be effective and most decks can't, is it gave me the opportunity. It gave me the overhead to play a turn behind, which
Right. makes
them actually work really well.
Well, and they actually do get away with playing a turn behind because they have enough every turn stat modification that you're actually not a turn behind.
Right.
Because your 4 drops are 5 drops, your 3 drops
But
are
only on attack or defense.
That's right. You
not
get
both.
to do it once. Well,
And I actually
that's-
I didn't draw the Titans Tower that game.
What's odd
So
about
I
that?
had none of the attack bumps.
Well, but I didn't know that.
You didn't know that. I had the one plot twist which I played
Right.
once.
You had 1/1 on a single attack, and you had +3 defense and defense.
And I
which
considered
is always
recruiting
brutal.
Garth to get it back. but-
+3 defense and defense. That's the one that always does me in because that actually.
Well, they
blocks-
must be reinforced too, so that's important.
Yeah.
It did not work for Terra on 2 attacks, for
That's-
example.
Well, yeah, but what's interesting about it is the position it puts me in is my 4 drops can't stun your 3 drops reliably. And yes, you have to reinforce to trigger that, but it means that it's just like it gets you 1.5 turns ahead because 2 defense is one thing, 3 defense is a ton. That difference is pretty significant because, like, again, a 4-drop to a 5-drop, especially when you combine that with the power-up sitting out there, you have on the board attack foil on my first attack every turn. That's amazing. No
Sure,
other deck in the
sure.
whole game has
Well,
that every turn.
maybe S is where they belong.
Which is the thing.
We'll keep at it and we'll make that judgment.
And you got to get the combination. And, again, there were some other circumstances like me missing a critical drop, which would have helped me get ahead on characters. Granted, it would have also
Ironically-
piled up your characters.
I don't value this card very much, but ironically, what put me in such a good position that game was drawing Optitron in my opening hand.
Yeah, that's pretty useful.
Because I didn't have a 1-drop, but it let me. I did have.
There's multiple turn surge. Yeah.
I had Dawn Granger in my hand,
Yeah.
so I did have a 1-drop.
Yeah.
But I was able to choose because she's better on 3.
Right.
If I don't have both if I don't have both Hank Hall and Dawn Granger, either is better on 3 than
Right.
recruiting either on 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So it let me choose not to play 1, set up 2 that isn't either Hank Hall or Dawn Granger, which was Cole,
Right.
which was super useful, and then boost her on 3. So my opening hand let me make that choice
Right.
to get a good setup.
No, you definitely
At
had
the
a
start of the
solid
game.
draw. And my draw was not a complete disaster, but it was definitely not good.
Good night, Chris. I think I missed Chris.
Yeah,
He's
good night,
like
Chris. Thanks
a
for
minute
sticking
or so
around.
ago.
He's like, I'm not listening to these
Yeah.
guys be salty, mostly Kyle. But yeah, it was
Yeah,
a.
he was not too salty.
What's that?
You do get salty sometimes. I
Yeah.
don't think tonight is.
I'm a little glum.
Glum is-
Well, it's sort of like when you. The 4-drop in the Raven. I mean, a complete attack fizzle of my 5-drop attacking your 4-drop.
I didn't expect a fizzle.
I know.
I thought I was gonna. I'm gonna
Nobody
make him play
expected-
something. Yeah.
Right, and I did have.
I thought it was gonna
something
be like,
that was
okay, I
nuts.
got 3, and then I need to power up, and then.
Right, and then I have to, and then you force me to
Yeah.
play, a thing or two. But 7 is, I mean, on the one hand, it was great to see, but it was the reason that was frustrating instead of sheerly awe-inspiring is because I had also missed 4, and I knew that was my last chance.
Right.
So I'm like, that was the game, and then I just couldn't do
I'm
anything.
Sorry.
But you got to kill me during the build phase, so I guess that's something.
It was fun. It was interesting.
Yeah. Man. Damn it, Venom. I thought so long about Daredevil or Venom. I thought about it for a long time. I'm like, okay, I can deal with like up to 5 or 6 defense.
Why did you put Daredevil in your sport row?
Because you actually had a fair amount of team deck. I didn't know you didn't have the giant attack boost.
So you're protecting him.
Right.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
if you just take him out with Dawn Granger and Hank Hall.
Well, but the counter argument to that is, since you had initiative, you lead with him and then take whomever out you wish. Like, you don't even need his attack to succeed.
I guess that's
you just
true.
attack and exhaust my team.
Well, part of the challenge that I was facing is because of the miss on 4-drop. Like, my deck is a stall deck. I'm supposed to stall. But and I was doing it actually well. Like, not from a life total perspective.
You
That
had a
was
lot
the
of
problem.
exhaust, and it was getting worrisome towards the end.
Like, the whole key is if I'd made my 4-drop, what I think would have happened, and I actually don't know if I would have won the game at all. That was you had a good draw, you were playing it well, but what would have made it an interesting game for me was I think I would have started, I still would have been losing the life game, but I think I would have started to gradually get board advantage. But because I couldn't get board advantage ever, all of these little peewees were sticking around, but they were all threats because you always had enough of them that they were threats to my bigger characters. And what I need to rely on in that scenario is that you can't team attack my bigger characters. You've got to do the red star or play on drop. But when you're in a position where you can recruit characters and just exhaust them to stun my stuff to chip me down and still have enough attack to be a threat, that's the problem. Where it started to be like an unclimbable hill. And I needed to start pushing away. Like I just needed to get like 2 characters on 2 separate turns, and missing 4-drop prevented me from one, and the 7 prevented me from getting the others, because I just needed to chip away at your character advantage. Because you weren't actually killing my characters either. Like, you weren't killing my characters.
Right, because of your exhaust powers. You could prevent me from killing your characters.
And it didn't matter. And that was sort of like I was doing part of my thing, but I just couldn't get away, couldn't get the characters. And so much of that deck does hinge upon I know I keep harping on it, but I think the +3 defense on defense every turn is a tremendous threat. It's really solid, and I wish it were +2. I feel like I could play much less. 3 is so hard to overcome, because most plot twists, especially versatile plot twists, you have some 3s, but you got a lot of 2s. The 3s are the harder to come by. So when you have the +3 defense, it means it's almost always either going to take me 2 to get over, or you can use it to force me to play plot twists when hitting down.
I'm not saying it's balanced or appropriate or whatever, but again, the reinforcement is an increased cost, and the fact that it's a location, which means it's a surprise once.
Sure, it
and
does
then
not have
then
the
it's
surprise.
Predictable.
Yep.
Thereafter, although it's still difficult to deal with.
Yep. Now, and I don't think it's
unless
broken.
I have terror, and then sometimes I can pull it off twice.
Well, sure.
Or if I just want to lose a resource, which I've done, I can pull it off twice.
Yeah. It was a very strange game. It was very strange. There was some strange stuff in that. I had a lot of stuff I could do, but it was really weird. Like that, I stun one of your characters back, and there were a couple of turns, and admittedly, there were a couple of opportunities where earlier on, where I didn't realize I was going to miss 4 or how south it was going to go. Where I could have dumped like 3 plot twists into a couple of attacks and maybe started to make a difference, but I didn't realize it was when we got to 4 and I missed 4, it was too late already for me to really capitalize on a massive push. So I had a reasonable amount of stat modification that became less consequential as the game went on. It was very weird. It was a very, very weird game. Oh, and I will share this. The plot twist that I had that I kept staring at angrily was there's actually a negation card in that deck, but the only thing it doesn't work on is activated character powers, which is everything you were doing to and threatening with. It was Terra and it was Coriander.
You could have used it then, so it works on a character power?
It works
what does it work on? What is
a
it?
plot twist or character power that targets one of my characters.
Oh, okay. So
But
I was about to say you could use it to stop the ping from Red
Right.
Star, but nope, you can't.
And I feel like the restriction of it saying...
It targets one of your characters?
Yes, so one of your things...
That seems rare.
And when it happens, it's pretty significant. But I feel like that because it's
Usually
specific...
you don't target your opponent's characters.
But I think it's plot twist, too. So the argument is plot twist... I'll read it. I'll find it and read it, and then we can call it a day.
But what I'm getting at is, were I assessing that card for inclusion in the deck, my conclusion would be, I don't think this is going to be frequently useful because you don't often target your opponent's characters.
It's definitely a less common effect, for sure. Where is that card?
Often enough to make it more than niche useful.
So there is a second part to it, and I won't read the second part.
Okay.
And it's still niche, but we'll save it for Rise to some point. But the primary
So
thing
it has
is,
another ability that's also useful?
I would say, is
Or it has
supplementary.
okay.
That is really rare, but just for the sake of leaving it a surprise. So the first part is negate target plot twist or non-activated payment effect an opponent controls targeting a Spider Friends character you control.
Okay.
If something else. But the if something else is admittedly very rare. But yeah, it's definitely a weird one.
I mean, I got stuff that targets your characters, but I think it's maybe 20% or less of my
It's
effects.
unlikely.
Yeah, it's not.
It's unlikely. There's only 1 or 2 in the deck. It's not, as I have not flush to the deck with it. It's designed to be like once a game, or I should say, I only care that I get one a game. Because it is very rarely useful more than that. It's like a once every 3 games it's useful. But because it's so swingy, I want the threat. I want the threat in there to alarm you.
Non-activated. That's weird. Like, it would almost be regularly useful if it was just
Yep.
effects, basically.
Yep. And I would be okay if it said character effects.
Sure.
But it's any
Non-activated.
payment effect. It's any payment effect. Because I think it does include locations too. I'm going to look at it again. I think it just specifies payment effects, which is the weird part. I might only have one in the deck. Now that I've said that. It is plot twist, so it doesn't... well, that's interesting. A payment effect is anything with an arrow, so that would actually include a payment effect in a location, but that's really rare. A payment effect in a location that's not activated is pretty unthinkable.
Optitron has one, but it doesn't target your characters.
Right. Did you,
Okay.
Alright. You don't need your glasses.
Apparently.
Yeah, it's niche, for sure. It's niche. It's designed to just be a little edge casey. It's actually probably one of the more edge casey cards in the deck. But it's just one of those
that
things.
Casey, it's designed to be a little edge.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, nonetheless, knowing that Coriander was a threat and knowing that Terror was a threat, it was a little irritating.
All right.
But
Well, we should say goodnight.
Yep. It's been good.
I think it was an
maybe
okay.
okay.
Cards, at least.
I think we both.
You ended on a sour note, which is why you
Sure.
were looking at it bad.
Well,
and I started on it. So.
Right. So I guess we had 2 bad games that did actually have one good side to them. You had got to do some good stuff in your game, and the last one, and I got to do some good stuff in the first game. We had the joke game that wasn't really a game, and then we had the second game, which generally was all right. And like what you did was horrifying and terrifying, and I won that game, but it was still horrifying and terrifying because it's pretty unstoppable. So.
All right. Well, we'll say
It's
goodnight
good
to
times.
everybody. We'll be back next week.
Good times.
No
Yeah.
reason not to.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Thanks for sticking around, and thanks for watching us on YouTube and all that jazz.
Yeah,
We'll
all
see
the
you next
jazz.
week.
All the jazz. Good night, everyone.